And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere. There's a whole lot going on, and we're going to get into it all tonight. Simone Biles, we got to talk about Simone Biles. There's a whole lot going on there. Stunning and brave because you quit during the Olympics. Oh, she had the issue with Larry Nassar, all this, that, and the third. Surely these issues with Larry Nassar existed in prior Olympics where she was dominant and won the gold medal. Surely the issue with Larry Nassar existed before she came to the Olympics this time and then decided when she got here after a poor performance to leave. We'll talk about that, though, a little bit more later on in the show. Also, shout out to everybody that got the shot thinking that it'd be the end of masks. Joke's on you, huh? Unfortunately, I don't mean to rub it in, but if you listen to a lot of the so-called conspiracy theorists on the internet, maybe they could have told you this was going to happen, just maybe. Maybe they could have told you to not trust these people that say to trust them, just maybe. I'm throwing it out there. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Also, Tucker Carlson gets confronted at the Dan Bailey outdoor shop by a guy by the name of Dan Bailey. But the Dan Bailey that confronted him is not in any way, form, or fashion related to the Dan Bailey outdoor shop. Got it. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all again for joining. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. So if you enjoy what you've heard thus far, if you enjoy the content in general, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Also, if you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform, give me a 5-star rating, a review, whatever you can over there. I'd appreciate it. And if you don't know, this podcast will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. Link for that will be in the box. You can also go to your favorite audio streaming platform and just search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. So we got a whole lot to get through, but first, shout out to my sponsors. We're going to do this first when everybody, as everybody's coming in. Shout out to me, ablmerch.com. We got hats, t-shirts, stickers, mugs, and more. All my hats and everything, all that's going to be available on ablmerch.com, ablmerch.com. Also, my website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. I write pretty much all the articles on the website. If it has my name on it, I wrote it. And in each article, I cite my sources. See, that's one thing I don't do is get on here and tell lies. People can say, oh, that's a bad take, ABL. All right, it's a bad take, but guess what? I mean, it's reality. It is what it is. If I say the water is wet, is somebody going to attack me for saying that? At the end of the day, it is what it is. I can prove it. So I always back up my articles and my videos with sources. Always on ABL merch. Well, not ABL merch, AnthonyBLogan.com. Also, if you go to ablmerch.com, it kind of links back to my regular website. So it's all the same thing. Go to one, you're going to find the other, but definitely AnthonyBLogan.com. Also, we have BHEDesigns.com. They do the beautiful flags that are behind me. You can get ones that are just like these or one of your own at BHEDesigns.com. Go to the link in the box specifically for the affiliate. Thank you for that in advance. Also, we have patriotpost.us. If you're looking for a real trusted source of news and information and you want to get some a reliable source from all over the place, they got my content on there. They have other content on there. They have their own original content. They got staff writers based right here in Tennessee. patriotpost.us is where you got to go. Also, shout out to my soap guys. That's right, soap. We wash hind parts just like everybody else. Mr1920.com, Mr1920.com. The links for all those places will be in the box. All right. I'm going to get to Simone Biles in a little bit. I'm going to save that one for a little bit later, but trust, I have a lot to say about that, so y'all just hang tight. I will get to it. I think I'm going to start with a different thing. Let's start with the first thing. Let's start with the masks. Is anybody surprised that masks are now coming back? Is anybody shocked? I don't think anybody should be shocked about this. I think that we all saw it coming. Now, if you've not been paying attention to what's going on, I'll explain. I'm going to just, just dig into it a little bit deeper here. The CDC back 2 months ago said that if you have the vaccine, you do not need to wear a mask at all, period. Indoors, outdoors, you get money, you get to go. No mask wearing. This was 2 months ago. This is specifically May 13th, 2021. Matter of fact, let's put that on the screen right quick. Let me go ahead and get myself together, and we will put that right on the screen. And just so you know, I'm not making it up. Just so you know, it comes straight from the White House. Yeah, straight from the White House official Twitter page. It says it right in front of your face. Look at this. I'll read the tweet, and then you guys can see the graphic. I'll read the graphic as well if you guys are not watching the video. The tweet caption says, "Big news from the CDC. If you're fully vaccinated, you do not need to wear a mask, indoors or outdoors, in most settings. We've gotten this far. Whether you choose to get vaccinated or wear a mask, please protect yourself until we get to the finish line." And the graphic is big graphic, this teal green background with dark blue text. New CDC guidance. Fully vaccinated people can stop, and can stop is in big bold letters. Fully vaccinated people can stop wearing masks. And underneath it says wh.gov, whitehouse.gov, straight from the White House, right on the official White House Twitter account, at White House, blue check, the White House. And it's tagged United States Government Organization. So this is not me making it up. I'm not just, what they say, right-wing conspiracy theorizing. No, straight from the White House. And let's see the date on it. This was May 13th, 2021. May 13th, 2021. Now all of a sudden they're saying, whoa, wait a minute. We got the Delta variant, and now we got to change things. And the funniest thing of all is they're talking about, there's new science. I got to find that right there. To me, that was hilarious, talking about new science. We got new science that says that. Oh, for real? Hold on. I know I have that somewhere. I forget exactly which article this was on, but I'm going to find that. They said we have new science that points toward the Delta variant being highly transmissible. Therefore, we got to bring the mask back. It doesn't matter if you got the vaccine or not. You can be fully vaccinated, partially vaccinated, unvaccinated. You had the virus before. It doesn't matter. We're bringing the mask back. That's what they say, correct? Oh, okay. But I was told, trust the science, right? I was told to trust the science. The science said 2 months ago that I don't need to wear the mask. Now they're saying the science changed. Well, isn't that what we've been saying from the very beginning? Isn't that what guys like me and others have been saying since the very beginning? But we got called conspiracy theorists, and we're not living in reality, all this and that and the third. That's what we were told. But now we know that we were right the entire time. That they tell you whatever they want. Science, what science got to do with it? People just make up stuff. They make up whatever they want to make up. And let me find that clip right quick. Well, not clip. It's just an article. Okay. Okay, here we go. Matter of fact, this is from Dr. Rochelle Walensky, director of the CDC. And I think we've seen her before. I'm gonna put her picture on the screen, and you're gonna know, if you guys watch a lot of this stuff like I watch, you can recognize her right away. You know exactly who this is. So this lady right here, that's person that says what you about to see. Her name is Rachel Walensky, director of the CDC. You've seen her before. If you watch any of this stuff, you recognize that face. When she was almost like literally shaking on CNN, talking about all these variants and the cases, that's her right there. Not exactly the striking vision of confidence right there. When I see her get on TV, I'm like, man, it's a wrap. We're done. Asteroid going to hit us right now. So this is the person that I'm going to talk about right now. Yes, that chick. Yes, Resident Biden. So let's zoom in right quick, and I'm going to just read it. I really do enjoy reading. I'm a reader because I like to have information. This is on KRO7. This is a local news channel. I'm not exactly sure where it's based out of, but you see the headline right here: coronavirus, CDC recommends masks indoors for some vaccinated people. This is July 17th, 2021, yesterday. And hold on, let me see. All right. So Dr. Rochelle Walensky, director of the CDC, said most new cases are being seen in unvaccinated Americans. However, she said new science related to the Delta variant prompted a change in the CDC guidance. The Delta variant is showing every day its willingness to outsmart us and to be an opportunist in areas where we have not showed a fortified response against it. In areas with substantial or high transmission, CDC recommends vaccinated people wear masks in indoor settings. And their guidance includes all people in K through 12 schools, which means your little kids going to school and whatnot, oh, they got to wear a mask too. And my question would be, how are they going to determine what a hot area is? Like, what is a hot zone? How do you determine that? I mean, are you going to have certain data that you must? Is it going to be determined at the federal level? I was like, okay, if we have this many cases per 100,000, that's going to be determined the hot level. So if it's one case below that, is it still a hot zone? I mean, how are you really going to determine this? I think what's going to end up happening is cities like, I think Kansas City already put this in. Maybe I'm wrong. I think certain cities are just going to do it regardless of what their outbreak status is. It doesn't matter if they're a hot area or a cold area. It doesn't matter if they are in a really big place, like let's say a particular county, and one part of the county is cold as ice and the other part is really hot. They'll enforce it for the entire county just because they want to do it. Or the entire county could be cold and they still enforce it because that's what they want to do. They want to get ahead of it, right? But imagine being the person who got the shot thinking that it'll be your ticket out of wearing a mask. You got bait and switch, right? That's a classic bait and switch. You tell me that if I do something, then I'll be free from doing something else. But then when I do it, you reverse it the next day. That's also considered to be entrapment if you're doing something like the whole Gretchen Whitmer kerfuffle. And speaking about Gretchen Whitmer, I kind of want to address that right quick because that's kind of top of mind as well. Have you guys been following the Gretchen Whitmer case? Now, we all know that there was an alleged plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. And when it first came out, they're talking about these guys. They were like some kind of anti-government group. First, they were trying to say they were Trump supporters. I was like, no, that's not what Trump supporters doing that. You know, and then I saw that guy, one of these guys, I'm not sure if it was a federale that they got on TV and was talking or some random moron. But this guy was talking about, oh, we don't like Trump. We don't like government at all. I was like, yeah, of course not. They're like an anti-government group. They're like a separatist group. They were all white, but I'm just saying they were a separatist group. So why would they like Trump if they don't like the government? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, when I first heard about it, they were saying it was like 4 guys involved, 2 feds, and then 2 normies. And the one federale was an actual agent with a badge and everything. The other guy was simply an informant, and then the other 2 guys were just normies, right? But now I'm hearing that there were like 18 feds involved in the whole situation. 18. I'm talking about federal agents, federal informants, all types of stuff. 18 federales involved. There were so many federales in the situation that I think there were much more federales than normies. So at a certain point, it's like, all right, well, what is this? If you have, for an example, just random numbers I'm throwing out there. I'm not saying this case was this. I'm just giving an example. If there's a case of 85 federales getting involved with a plot to kidnap a governor and 1 normie, does it mean that there's a serious problem with these underground groups that want to kidnap governors? Oh, it was 86 people arrested, but 85 of them were federales. You got 1 normie, one moron that gets kind of swept up in it. I was watching this podcast. I forget what the podcast was. If you guys recognize what I'm saying, let me know what the podcast was. But I was listening, and then the guy was saying one of the federales, when they were on the way to the governor's house or something, He said out loud, if you don't want to kidnap the governor, get out the car right now, or get out of this, thing we have going on right now. I mean, you couldn't have been no more obvious speaking into the flower in your pill. If nobody wants to arrest the governor right now, get out. We're going to kidnap. It's like, sir, you couldn't be no more obvious if you tried. You understand what I'm saying? Speaking loud. You obviously wearing the wire. You obviously some kind of federale type person. And I think when that happened, a couple of the guys left. One of the guys actually did leave when the guy was like, if you don't want to do this, leave now. One of the guys did leave and moved away from Michigan totally, left his state, but he still got locked up. He wasn't even involved with the actual, I guess he was involved with the pre-planning process, and for that, he got arrested. But the majority of these guys, from what I'm reading, are feds. We've seen this time and time and time again. We saw it with the Proud Boys, didn't we? I'm going to keep saying it. People might not like it, but it's the truth. On January 6th, which they're having this sham thing. Matter of fact, I have a meme for that. I'm going to show that in a minute. But January 6th, the feds knew what was going to happen. They already had information. They got intelligence. I don't understand how, the government doesn't have this information ahead of time, because you got guys that are just dumb. You got guys talking on social media, sending direct messages. You got guys sending DMs thinking that it's private. The government can't find the government can read that with no problem. They can send a warrant to Twitter and they got to open the DMs. I've seen plenty of guys get locked up, like federal time, behind DMs on social media. DMs. All right, you got your DMs printed out with instructions and addresses and drug prices and pictures of the guns and the drugs and everything else. They're gonna print it out in court, put it on the big 24x36 easel or projector or overhead projector, and they're gonna show that in court. They're gonna play audio clips of you on DMs in court. They're gonna play audio clips of you wiretapped in court and lock you up based on that. You thinking it's private? No, it's not. But anyway. The federales knew what was going to happen. That's why they were requesting backup and everything else. And they knew the Proud Boys would be involved. Come on. If we know about the Proud Boys, they know. They got moles in the inside. But anyway, I think a night or two before January 6th happened, you had a lot of the Proud Boys in D.C. And right before all this happened, you have one of the Proud Boys arrested, Enrique Tarrio, just picked up by the feds. So, the question is, okay, why did Enrique get popped up? Like, why did he get snatched up? And why did he get arrested? What was he didn't actually do anything, but see, they did not want their asset to get caught up in any kind of weird stuff. It came out later that he had already been with the feds, working as an informant, got plenty of guys locked up, had been in jail himself, and then he was like, all right, I'll go ahead and work with you as an informant. Nothing wrong with being in law enforcement. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying, if you want to get involved with something crazy, something weird, and do something you shouldn't be doing, understand that the feds know what's going on, and the feds, they'll let you do it for a while, let you just carry on about your business. They'll build a case on you, and then 5 years later, they come and get you. That's how they always work. They're always looking. They got plenty of resources. They know what's going on. So this whole thing with Simone Biles, I'm getting ahead of myself. This whole thing with Gretchen Whitmer, they were mostly part of that. They already knew it wasn't, if not for the federales, it wouldn't even went down, in my humble opinion. Same thing with January 6th. How many of these guys that were in the Capitol were Black Lives Matter, Antifa, or federales? I love to know. We're seeing this January 6th commission, and you got guys crying. You got guys, giving these compassionate stories. And it's the same, 3 or 4 officers that all know each other. They're on a first name basis with Adam Kinzinger. They're taking pictures together, having a good time. It's a sham. It's like kabuki theater. That's what we're seeing right now. If you watch any of the January 6th commission, you're watching kabuki theater. You're watching a kangaroo court. You're watching a thing that's not real. You're watching state propaganda, 1,000%. This is what China does. This is what North Korea does. And, you know, some of us might kind of laugh at China and North Korea, and because it's kind of ridiculous, right? Some things that they do. If you ever heard of this thing called wolf diplomacy in China, they got these really cheesy movies where they put guys that might be behind the computer most of the day in the movie talking about how tough they are and how they want to destroy America. They got guns and stuff on them. And, you know, like imagine taking the IT guy and throwing him in an action movie. They have stuff like that to show strength to the world. To us, it looks cheesy. To us, it looks dumb. And we're thinking, why would they do that? Why would they put something like that out? It's dumb. It's not going to work. It's the same thing going on here with January 6th. People that are looking at this around the world know it's phony, or at least they should, especially when they see all the connections that people have to each other. Kinzinger knows the officers. They know his family. They're hanging out. They're taking pictures. All of it is phony. All of it is cheesy. All of it is corny. But the government are dumb. Government is dumb. That's why communism doesn't work, because government is inherently stupid. They don't innovate at all. All they do is just maintain barely. They barely maintain. That's why small government is always better, because big government always becomes inefficient. Always. They always take too much power, do dumb things. One of the top most dumb things that I've seen is Fast and Furious. Remember with Eric Holder talking about, yeah, we're gonna give the cartels thousands of guns, and the whole point is to have the guns get tracked back to the head honchos, and we're gonna take them down from there. It's like, now, are you dumb? First of all, you're not gonna get anywhere near the big dog, El Jefe. You won't get anywhere near El Jefe at all. Okay, if you get him, you need to get some Daddy Jackal. You need to get some real guys on that, not Eric Holder with some guns talking about, are we going to get to the big dog? No, you not. Them guns got used in murders and all types of stuff, and they ain't found most of them. Most of them got just disappeared in Mexico or sent somewhere else and sold for some other guns. It'd be funny if they sold those weapons for other weapons that the government did not have. They go overseas to China somewhere, and then they get drugs and whatnot in return, and then they could buy more guns with the drugs they got from China. That's how dumb the government is. This is why they do things like the January 6th Commission. This is why they do things like a lot of these hoaxes we have going on. They think we're not going to know what's going on, and right now they're trying to weaponize social media to silence us. They're trying to silence us through the social media apparatus. Remember, I got a strike on my channel. I'm kind of jumping around, but I'm going to get back to where I was, January 6th and whatnot. I got a strike recently on my channel for quote-unquote medical misinformation, right? And I knew right away, or shortly thereafter, that it was politically motivated. I knew that it was the government putting pressure on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot to do this thing, because now there's a different policy in place. I beat the strike finally just right now today, and that was weeks ago when it happened, but I finally beat it. The video's back up, and the video was about the pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That video's back up, fully monetized, and it's fine. But right when they did that, they took a different video down, but I didn't get a strike. Like, okay, they changed the policy right there, because when they first did it, it was kind of a sweep from the federales. Now it's, okay, we have a policy to be kind of negotiated with the government. Governments are dumb. They do things out in the open and think we don't see it. It's like Shaq trying to hide behind a tree. Like, I can see you, sir. You're 500 pounds and 7 foot tall. I cannot miss you. But I digress. Getting back to the January 6th Kabuki Court, Kabuki Theater, Kangaroo Court, whatever you want to call it. Your man, Adam Kinzinger. Did you see Adam Kinzinger crying? Or, you know, giving these little crocodile tears, invisible crocodile tears. I ain't see near tear come out of his eye. Matter of fact, let's pull it up right quick, and then I'm gonna show you guys the meme if I'm able to find that one. Let's get a little bit of sound going on, a little bit of sound action. Let me get my. Okay, let's do this way, and all right, let's get a little bit of sound action. And here we go on the screen. Matter of fact, let's do this. And all right, let's play it.
Longy fuses.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to my colleagues on the committee. Thank you to our witnesses. I never expected today to be quite as emotional for me as it has been. I've talked to a number of you and gotten to know you. I think it's important to tell you right now, though. You guys may, individually feel a little broken. You guys all talk about the effects you have to deal with, and, you talk about the impact of that day. But you guys won. You guys held. Democracies are not defined by our bad days. We're defined by how we come back from bad days, how we take accountability for that. And for all the overheated rhetoric surrounding this committee, our mission is very simple. It's to find the truth, and it's to ensure accountability. Like most Americans, I'm frustrated that 6 months after a deadly insurrection breached the United States.
All right, so the crying, sir, I'm not feeling you crying. I'm just not, because there's been plenty of death that has happened over Black Lives Matter and the Antifa rallies. Plenty of innocent people getting shot and killed. Sequoia Turner, 8 years old, shot and killed at a BLM so-called rally, protest, autonomous zone or whatever. 77-year-old David Dorn shot and killed over a flat screen TV during Black Lives Matter violence. You had not one but two young black men killed at the Chaz Chop Zone out there in Freeport, Washington. I could go on. There are countless names. Talia Marie Kelly. Dozens of people that have been shot and killed at BLM rallies, people that have been killed due to the BLM rallies lasting effect. When you go out there and destroy neighborhoods, threaten people, talking about defund the police, all this and that, and you have a 20% rise in homicide, 50% rise in homicide, 800% rise in homicide, and the majority of that is against black people. If you Hispanic, maybe a couple little whites thrown in there too, but you don't cry any tears for them. You want to go cheer them on, right? But then when this happens, you want to cry about that. So cry me a river and spare me the fake tears. And matter of fact, how about this meme? I'm gonna throw on you right quick. Oscar award. I'm glad you mentioned. I can't see your name right there because it's kind of scrolling a little bit. But shout out to Rob Smith for reposting this one right here. This is how I saw what he just did. Let's check it out.
You guys all talk about the effects you have to deal with, and you talk about.
And if you can't see what's going on, somebody remade this into a meme. They put the little sparkling kind of background behind them that would be at an award show. They put him in a tuxedo with the bow tie, and now they have an award. If you guys are watching on video, there's actually an award that's kind of in the bottom left hand corner that he has, and he's holding. You know how they do when they're on the stage. It's like, oh, I want to thank God for my movie about killing babies in the womb. How it's a good thing, and I want to thank my wife of the past 12 months. You've been my rock throughout my whole life. You know the whole thing they do in Hollywood, fake stuff. And so they move in their award like this in the bottom left-hand corner. So let's start from the top and watch it.
You guys all talk about the effects you have to deal with, and, you talk about the impact of that day. But you guys won. You guys held.
Do you see the award right there that he's waving? Hilarious.
Democracy. You guys all talk.
I don't know who did that, but sir, whoever you are, hey man, bravo to you. Hats off. That is A100 memery. If there's a meme awards, you get nominated right away. Facts, big time facts. So shout out to you. That was amazing. I loved it. That's pretty much how I see the January 6th Kangaroo Kabuki Court. That's what I see right there. A bunch of fake people crying over spilled milk, crying over nothing. Crying to make a political point. And then the commission is full of people that are just, it's all leftists and two rhinos. And Nancy Pelosi, I think she might have been in charge of the casting of this Kabuki Court, Kabuki Theater, took off all the actual Republicans, guys that would ask questions like Jim Jordan. If Jim Jordan was on there, oh my goodness. The fact that it's 100% left, they got two quote unquote Republicans on there. I think Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, if I'm not mistaken. They're leftists. They're not Republican anymore. That's just the reality of what's going on. We're talking about Benghazi. Great question. I don't believe that he was. Kabuki Theater, Kabuki. It comes from Japan. It's like really showy and elaborate. When someone says that, you're talking about politics. It's like you got this really big display with not much content. The effort is put into the showmanship, but not the actual content of what's being said. It's like somebody that has word salad. There's a bunch of word salad going on at these particular little hearings and stuff. You're saying a whole bunch, but you're not saying anything at all. Little fake tears over nothing. It's just theater. Just like when my man, Dr. Rand Paul, was pressing Anthony Fauci saying, hey, are masks theater or is it political theater? No, it's not theater. I can't tell. It's all theater. But I'll move right along. We got a lot more to discuss here. Let me see. Oh, my man Tucker got confronted at the shop. Speaking about federales, okay, now I did my video on it. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't see it, but help me out here. Okay, I'm going to just set the scenario for you and tell me, am I crazy or not for thinking how I'm thinking? So Tucker Carlson is in Livingston, Montana, right? Small town, like 7,000 people, and he's going to go fly fishing. So he goes to the fish shop called the Dan Bailey Outdoor Shop, something like that. Dan Bailey Outdoor something. So he goes there to get his supplies, right, with his family, wife, kids, whatever. Here comes a guy also named Dan Bailey, no relation to the guy that had passed away, who owned the spot, who started the spot. He died way back in like 1900. Here comes a guy by the name of Dan Bailey harassing him. You're the worst human being on planet Earth. You spread misinformation about the vaccine and you spread racism, all this and that. He's confronting him, getting like right here in his face, okay? Now, if you get that close to me, now, see, I'm gonna have to ask you to back up, okay? Because now you're too close, you're in my bubble, and if you're worried about the virus and the vaccine, this is way closer than 6 feet, and anybody got no mask on, so this is not appropriate to be right up on me to where you almost kiss me on my nose. I'm not really feeling that too tough, so back up a little bit, sir. But anyway, he's confronting them all in his face, talking about you're trash, you're worthless, or whatever, and somebody is recording the whole situation. It's not Dan Bailey because he's in front of the camera, not behind it. Sometimes you see confrontations where a camera is in somebody's face like this or like that, and then there's a voice behind the camera talking to the person, and then the guy is looking into the camera talking to the guys behind it. That wasn't the case. Somebody was recording it. And then the video wound up on Dan Bailey's Instagram page. So who was recording? Was it your wife? Was it a friend of yours? Was it a cameraman? How'd you get that video? Was it done on purpose? How is your name Dan Bailey? And how were you right there at the Dan Bailey Outdoor Shop in Livingston with like this really small town population? How did you happen to be there the same time he was there? What's going on? Now, dig a little bit deeper into Dan Bailey, quote unquote Dan Bailey. He went to Mongolia with a group called the Asia Foundation, if I'm not mistaken. And this was found because he was on this board of the Timon Fund. Anyway, his little bio says that he went to Mongolia for a particular type, for one kind of fish with the Asia Foundation. Dig a little bit deeper. The Asia Foundation was founded in the 50s as a CIA front. And their whole thing is to spread cultural, it's to engage in cultural activities on the behalf of the United States. So, what's going on with that? Are you a Fed, sir? Also, that's not where it stops. He also works for a DC nonprofit. So, okay, you work for a DC nonprofit. So all the political people in DC, they got an axe to grind with Tucker. Man, since you out there, Mr. Dan Bailey, to intercept him, you have ties allegedly to the CIA. Maybe that's how you got the information that he'd be out there in Montana. It's too many coincidences going on. Your name is Dan Bailey. You got the Dan Bailey Outdoor Shop. It's not your shop. You have ties to the CIA. You work for a DC nonprofit. You have this videotape that somebody recorded as a cameraman and then put on your Instagram page, and then it went viral. How? What's going on? And let's not act like I have on a tinfoil hat right now, because remember the whole thing about the NSA? And Tucker was like, well, the NSA is spying on me. They're reading my emails and they're trying to send them to reporters in DC. Well, that was proven to be true. It was true. Right when he said that, here comes Axios leaking the story like a day or two later. And remember, the NSA was denying it, talking about, oh, we're not spying on Tucker, all this and that and the third. And they put the tweet out at 8 p.m. sharp, which is when the show starts on Fox News. A coincidence? No. They're trolling them, obviously. 1,000% trolling them. And what else was it? It was the tweet that came out. Oh, and in the tweet, they said he's not the target of an investigation. That's like lawyer language. He may not be the target. However, he may get caught up incidentally when they're spying on somebody else. Here's probably what happened. Tucker was trying to get an interview with Putin, right? And he's talking to people that are kind of like intermediaries here that can make it happen. Some Russians or whatever. So the NSA is spying on them. And here comes his email and the spying. Oh, we got Tucker Carlson's emails. Let's follow the trail, see where it goes. Is there any dirt in there? Okay, cool. Take this right here, send it to your man in DC at Axios, and leak it. That's probably what happened. So, I mean, you're talking about Trump saying that the press are the enemy of the people, and he's threatening the press. And, you know, remember Jim Acosta feeling so threatened because he go to a Trump rally and they be chanting, CNN sucks, CNN sucks. I think saying CNN sucks is a far cry from threatening somebody in Montana when you kind of like stalk them to find out where they at. And then, you know, putting a video of them on Instagram, talking about how bad they are, not even talking about how you are probably a fed yourself, abusing your power to go stalk this man and do something to him. Okay, it's levels to it. It's one thing to say that CNN sucks, which is a fact. It's different to go stalk this man using your government influence to do it. So, I mean, it's like, what are we doing? What's the next step? To put journalists in jail, to lock them up because they say unfavorable things about the Biden administration? I mean, it's weird how those that talk about fascism and racism engage in just that. It's really strange how that happens, but, you know, I digress. Tucker Carlson is a big threat because people watch him. He has probably the most popular show, you know, political primetime show on TV, like in a real way, not Rachel Maddow. Ain't nobody watching Rachel Maddow, but anyway, the most popular guy. He's not afraid to tell the truth. You know, Fox might not like it sometimes, but he'll tell the truth. Whistleblowers will go on there. Project Veritas will go on there. They don't like that. It's too uncontrollable, too unpredictable. They want things to be really vanilla and easygoing. They don't want, I got to rock the boat like Tucker Carlson does. So shout out Tucker Carlson. Shout out to him for doing the Lord's work. Big up Tucker Carlson. Oh, yeah, the beer gut stalker, the pregnant man emoji looking character. Like, I saw the pregnant man emoji. I'm like, man, that's crazy. Who looks like that for real? But maybe it's more common than I think. He might not be pregnant, but he got that beer belly. He got a beer baby in his stomach, but I digress. Thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and get the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. So we spoke about the mask coming back. How you feel about that if you got the vaccine because you thought that there would be no more masks? And then they tell you a week later, oh, put the mask back on because the vaccine might not be enough. Is it enough or is it not enough? Give me some straight answers. You said, at first it said the mask was enough. Then it started saying stuff like 2 masks, 3 masks. Is the mask enough or not? if you're telling me to get the vaccine and the mask, why? Why can't I do one or the other? If you don't think I got the vaccine, all right, I should be able to wear the mask then, right? Why are you talking about vaccine mandates? Why is that being brought up? Bill de Blasio said that there's going to be mask mandates for for state workers in New York. And Biden is talking about vaccine mandates, vaccine or testing mandates. Same thing in New York. Vaccine or testing mandates for federal workers. And shout out to Rhonda Mary, YouTuber. I was reading her Twitter, and she made a good connection. She's saying, you're talking about all these government jobs and relying upon the government. But when you do stuff like that, they have control over you. They can tell you to do anything. You got to do it because work for the government, right? Federal employees, okay, mandate on the vax, mandate on the test. If you work for yourself, that might not be the case. Work for the federales, you do what they tell you to do. So, people talking about, more government, bigger government. When you have more government, bigger government, they have more control over you as a person. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I like to have freedom. I don't want to regress as a progressive. The progressive want to progress. Regress. They want to go back in time to when there was fewer freedoms for everyone. And I thought that, having things like slavery was bad, but we're going right back there. The larger the government gets, the fewer freedoms you have. It'll get to the point where you just get picked up in the summertime and go work somewhere. Like how they did in Cuba back in the communist days. You be in Cuba playing with your soccer ball or whatever in your yard, and then they come get you, take it to some farm somewhere and work during the summertime. That'd be what it boils down to. People don't want to work right now in restaurants. It's kind of hard to staff, and you have inflation happening because of staffing shortages. All right, well, check it out. You don't want to work. Let's make you work. That could be the end goal of all this government control. Like you're getting people used. It's creating a culture of dependence, of staying home, relying upon the government. So when you do that, people are it's easier to convince someone like that who is used to that to do whatever the government says. So when they tell you to stay home and you do it, you might just go to the farm or get on that train when they tell you to do it. As California's going that direction, I saw in California, I'm going to get Simone Biles in a minute. I saw in California where they said you can't even, you can't buy a gaming PC. California and other states, I think it was like Washington, Oregon, Vermont, you can't buy a gaming PC because it does not adhere to energy standards. And I also saw that you can't charge your Tesla sometimes. But I thought it's about renewable energy, all this, that, and the third. Well, isn't a Tesla, electric, not burning no fossil fuel, but I can't charge it because why? So if I can't drive my car that, gas guzzler, fossil fuel, if I can't charge my Tesla, if I can't buy a computer, what am I going to do? Take this government computer that's less efficient, more expensive. It'll have all the spyware on it so they can spy on you. And if you want to go to the grocery store or whatever, it's a train right here. Hop on that train. I was talking about this years ago. It was a discussion years ago I had with a family member of mine. I won't say nobody's name, but they told me, it was like, look, they're trying to get rid of personal vehicles on the West Coast, especially. They're building trains everywhere. So if you got to go anywhere, board the train. And if they tell you to go somewhere, get on the train. There's no choice in the matter. Get on the train. You don't know where you're going. Have you seen that before? It's kind of like history repeating itself. When people don't understand history, when they want to deny history, they'll be doomed to repeat it. But I'll leave that right there. I digress. The whole point is that government control is not a good thing. Small government, not zero government, very small, just barely able to be there. Just enough to provide national security and basic functions. But that's it. No more, no. I don't want to have government being involved in my schooling and stuff like that and marriages. It's just too much. But I'll move right along. Now, Simone Biles. Simone Biles is okay. I'm gonna just start from the beginning. You guys know Simone Biles, world famous gymnast from the U.S., the star of Team USA Gymnastics, right? One of the best ever, if not the best ever. I'm not really sure where she ranks. I don't really watch gymnastics. I've seen her a little bit. I've seen other people, but she's good. One of the best, right? If not the best. So she goes to the Olympics and has a bad performance. She was trying to do 2.5 turns, only did 1.5 turn, had a really rough landing when she was done with the 1.5 turn, almost fell off the mat because you know the whole thing about gymnasts, they want to stick the landing, they want to flip all in the air and then be like, you know, like a tree. But she did all this jazz and almost fell. It was a pretty bad run. But after that, okay, the trainers come out. She's talking to him. And then she said, okay, I'm not going to be competing in the team part. And later, she said, I won't be in the individual part either. When that first came out, they thought she had an injury, right? When I say they, I mean the general public, us. Oh, she's injured. Matter of fact, I think Team USA Gymnastics put out a press release saying that she was injured. Matter of fact, pardon me, they said it was an unspecified medical condition. They did not say injury because medical could be mental too, right? So people assumed that it was an injury because she didn't look good on the landing. She could have tore her knee up or something. It might have been anything. People assumed that it was an injury, but it wasn't. She did a press conference and said that she's having some mental problems. She's a mental break or whatever. It's a lot of pressure on her being the star of the team, all this and that, and the third. But here's the thing about it. Okay, if you got a problem you're dealing with mentally, go ahead and deal with it. But I don't like how she's being seen as the GOAT, greatest of all time, with this happening. You can't be seen as the greatest of all time when you're not able to perform. She put the GOAT little badge on her uniform. Like some of her glittery part is a GOAT for greatest of all time. She says she's a star of the team during press conferences, so she knows what she is. She's the best. She knows it. She puts it on herself. But when you do something like that, when you say you're the star and you're the best, you got to perform like it. If you can't perform like it, then you can't call yourself the star or the best. What she did is the equivalent to Jordan saying, you know what? I'm not feeling very well. I'm having a hard time dealing with what's going on in the finals and all the lights and whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and just fall back. Scotty, you got it. Rodman, you got it. During the finals, game 3 of the finals, I'm going to just stop playing, let you guys do it. That's the equivalent to what Simone Biles did. Now, I'm not here to undiagnose her or diagnose her. However, it shouldn't be praised, heaped upon her for quitting. That's what she did, regardless of what's going on. And people say, well, she had problems because she was abused sexually by Larry Nassar. And I understand. Okay, I'm not trying to say it's okay. Obviously, he needs to get the rope immediately. But anyway, that was a problem last time when she went to the Olympics and performed very well. The great athletes power through adversity. That's what they do, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't matter, your personal problems, but that comes to being an athlete. Jordan had the same thing happen. I think his father got killed and he was still, I think Kobe's father had died. Jordan's father had got killed. What else? He was sick, had the flu. It's like you power through these adversities. If you can't do it, okay, that's great. But you can't be seen as the greatest. You can't. And if you had all these anxieties and whatnot, why did it come out when you got to the Olympics? Like after the first trial, and you did poorly. Did you not have any anxiety before the Olympics? It's every 4 years. So how are you feeling at home? Like I'm having a hard time understanding what's going on. My whole thing is don't heap praise upon someone for quitting. Also, Naomi Osaka, same thing with Naomi Osaka. I don't want to go to U.S. Open. I don't want to go to Wimbledon. I need a mental break. You got to protect athletes from the media, all this and that. And the third, you got to protect athletes from the media. Yet I see Naomi Osaka on every magazine cover, podcasts, commercials. You talk about how you need a break from the media and the limelight, but you do everything possible to talk to the media and engage in the limelight. You like the media when they're positive, but when they ask tough questions, it's a problem at that point. That's the reality what's happening with Naomi Osaka. And I think after this whole mental health thing, it's helped boost her brand a lot. Same thing with Gwen Berry. Okay, who is Gwen? Did you know about Gwen Berry before all this happened? Now, Naomi Osaka was good in tennis before all this went on. Same thing with Simone Biles in gymnastics. They were pretty good at their sport. But who knows who Gwen Berry is? The hammer thrower? Do you watch hammer throwing, women's hammer throwing? I don't think so. But she made a big stir about social justice and not wanting to stand for the anthem, activist athlete. People are getting attention. And you know what? The problem I got with that is multifold. First of all, this really only applies to women, especially black women or quote unquote women of color and LGBT. I made this statement on Twitter. I think that it makes sense, but if it doesn't, you guys let me know if it doesn't make any sense. LGBT is to black women as China is to Tibet. Or the LGBT is to woke black women as China is to Tibet. So basically, if you're woke and you're activist or whatever, engaging in leftist politics, the LGBT is really adjacent to all of that as far as women and things of this nature. The LGBT is kind of like colonized woke black women into their little circle. It's kind of the same now. And it's a weird thing. I think some people don't like that, but a lot of them kind of revel in it. You got these TV shows. A prime example is The Real Housewives, and you get to do Andy, hosting it, but you got black women that are the main ones keeping it up. It's just, that's what's going on with a lot of the woke black women. So you can't say things about LGBT. That's a problem. And if you are a woke black woman, you get elevated by the same people that elevate LGBT, and also by the LGBT itself. That's kind of how that works. And the reason why I say that is because if you are a man to do something like this, you don't get sympathy points. Because I've seen basketball players have these kind of problems. Markelle Fultz, the former number 1 draft pick of the Sixers back in 2017, he had mental problems and he was playing with the Sixers. He was really inconsistent, having a hard time at the free throw line shooting. He had a hitch, like he'd be kind of scared to shoot it. It was clearly mental problems, but when he was playing, what did they say? He sucks. Get him out of here. Get him out of Philly. He's trash. He's a bust. And when he left Philly, finally, he flourished on the Magic. Nobody went and said, hey, is Philly a toxic environment? Was he getting mistreated in Philly? What was the problem? What was his mental state like? They were like, he sucks. Glad he's gone. He's on the Magic now. Okay, he sucks less now. That was the thing. Same thing with Ben Simmons. Now, he had kind of a weird career. He never was what he could have been, basically. But anyway, the final straw with him was missing the layup. That layup caused his own teammates thrown under the bus. At the press conference, Joel Embiid, his co-star, they're asking him about, the last seconds of their game and missed the layup. Or could they have won the game? He was like, yeah, but my teammate, he don't make the layup. Talking about Ben Simmons. And then the coach, Doc Rivers, they asked him, can he be the point guard of the future for this team? Oh, I don't know, man. He might not be. I can't answer that question right now. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you see the difference. The difference in how the men are treated who don't perform well because of mental anguish versus the women, and also the LGBT. If you are LGBT or a woman, sometimes you get elevated when you are weak, when you don't perform very well. You're given the same accolades as a highly performing athlete when you don't perform well, when there's an excuse of weakness attached to it. That's the reality. I'm not saying that these women don't have problems. Maybe they do. But I don't like praising them for their problems. Praise them for their performance. If they don't do well, then they don't do well, period. If a woman does do well, Talk about her. Who was actually the leader on that team that did not quit? Aside from Simone Biles or Naomi Osaka, who was the actual person from the U.S. that did well? Talk about her, not those that didn't do well. But I digress. So yeah, Simone Biles, I'm not really going to be like hating on her or bashing her. She could be Black Lives Matter. I don't know. I've not seen that from her. I don't like the reaction to what she did. What she did was quit. If that's good for her, then good for her. But hey, if you had these issues before the Olympics, how about not going to the Olympics? Maybe, rather than quitting right in the middle. And if you quit, you can't be seen as the GOAT. The GOAT don't quit. The best don't quit. The best power through. I'm going to say one more thing here. It's a lot of guys and girls that have had problems, right? They got the best skill, the best ability, the best everything. But their mental problems prevent them from going forward. There's a lot of guys like this. They are not seen as the GOAT. Len Bias was a great basketball player, but I mean, his problems led to him dying early, dealing with drugs and alcohol. There's a lot of guys like that. A lot of guys better than Jordan in the penitentiary. You got to be able to get beyond your environment, beyond your problems, beyond your mental blockage, beyond your everything. That's how you're seen as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. But if you can't do that, then you can't be in that discussion. You can't call yourself GOAT and quit. But I'm kind of repeating myself, so I digress. All right. Oh, did you guys see that that video of the officer? They said he was allegedly planting drugs in the back seat of the car. That's a prime example of wait a little bit until the facts are known. I would play it here, but I can't. I'm not really sure where it's at. But anyway, they said the officer planted drugs in the man's back seat, but he didn't. It was an empty bag tear. Now, what they call a corner tear of a baggie. So a piece of plastic that was torn from a baggie. Now, what happened was it was they were speeding just south of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I think it's called Caledonia. They were speeding like 20 over in the 45 or something like that. So they get pulled over. The driver does not want to identify himself for some reason. And you know what? I'm going to just pause right there. All right, you're speeding, right? You're not going that fast. You're not going reckless. You're not going 125 in the 45 or something like that. You're going like 63 in the 45. It's not really that big of a deal. So you speeding, and they say, okay, license registration. You don't want to do it. See, right away you're going to the jail, or you're going to get searched. You're going to bring undue attention to yourself. Undue drama is going to enter your life for no reason. But anyway, he doesn't want to identify himself. So he's asked to get out the car. They search him. The guys that were in the car, they searched him as well, if I'm not mistaken. But they searched the one guy. Here comes the baggie, an empty corner of a baggie. And the officer throws the baggie back into the car. And then one of the guys was still in the car. He was recording. Man, that's how you do that, man. You put something in my car. So just that one video of the guy recording and the baggie going back is what went viral. But they didn't see what happened before that by taking the baggie out of the guy's person on the guy's body cam. Thank you for the T. They don't show that part. All they show is just the bag going into the back of the car. Now, if the bag was still on the guy, he was to get arrested, they might try to have the canines sniff it, and it could be some weed on it. Now you're going to jail. I saw it at first like, okay, you pretty much looking out for the guy. Rather than taking it back to jail, if he goes to jail, put it in the car. Rather than throwing it on the ground and put it in your own pocket, put it back in the car. Made sense to me, but when you saw that first little clip, it looked like to some people he was planting drugs in the car, although it was a empty baggie with nothing in it. And then at the end of it, they didn't even go to jail. Nobody got arrested. It might have been a ticket, and that was it. You could have avoided all the drama, all the attention, all this and that and the third, if you just had an ID on you, or you showed it to the guy that was the arresting officer. If you didn't go to jail, you probably had an ID. Like you won't drive it, you won't ride in dirty or nothing like that, suspend a license or nothing. So just show your ID and get it over with. People are dumb. But yeah, that story, that it goes to show these snap reactions, snap judgments, not having the full context, it could be kind of dangerous. All right, get the full context to see what's going on before you just snap and react. All right, I got a few. Did I get everything I want to get to? Hold on, I got to Simone Biles, the masks. Oh, I almost got about this one right here. Okay, I got one more. Then I'm going to get to the super chats and then the calls. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Give me about 10 minutes. Now, there was a letter that went around in Dallas, Texas, to white liberals that allegedly were Democratic voters. Now, I don't know how this list got out to people, how they sent letters to somebody's house with their name on it saying, hey, we see that you're white and you're a liberal Democrat and you support Black Lives Matter. How do they know all that? Do they know? I mean, I'm having a hard time. Like, it wasn't even like it was a generic letter addressed to Dear Resident. The person's name was on it. So how do you know all that? Do you know, like, I don't want all that to be out there. Maybe they signed a petition and put their name and the address on it. That was first mistake. But anyway, so the letter went out from this group called Dallas Justice Now, something like that. Matter of fact, let me pull the article up right quick. But the letter went out and the request was, hey, we see you're a white person. You live in a very well-to-do white area. What I'm asking is that you don't send your children to any Ivy League school or a top 50 school because, quote unquote, POCs, people of colors, need those spots. We need jobs, opportunities, X, Y, and Z. And if you already have money, why send your kids to a good school? Let us go there instead. After all, you wouldn't be talking about Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot. It must be more than social media hashtag. You got to do some action. After all, it wasn't in a letter, but she said it like in an interview with some local media out there in Texas. The person said, after all, and during civil rights, white folks died for black folks' rights. So all you could do is not have your kids go to an Ivy League school or a top 50 school. It's dumb because people ain't really going to do that. They're not going to do that. If they want the kids to go to a good school, that's what's going to happen. And you're not accounting for the Asians. So let's just say all the white liberals did not send their kids to an Ivy League school or a top 50 school. Let's just say that's what happened. What would end up happening is you have a bunch of Asians in there instead. And I don't mean just from China. I'm talking about India, Japan, Korea, Philippines, everywhere, Asia. That'll be the majority of those who were there. And then blacks and Hispanics at the end of that. Furthermore, if the white liberals did not send their kids to these schools, that's not going to improve the black performance at these schools. A lot of people do not have good test scores, and they're not really ready for a high program like these Ivy League schools have. I think Thomas Sowell said it. A lot of black kids, they're put into a lot of these really high intensity programs, and they don't do well. They don't perform well because they're not ready for it. If they are ready for it, then they'll be there. But if they're not, then they're just not going to be ready for it. What happens is this. They go to the school, they don't perform well, and at the end of it, somebody's going to say, like, somebody might be on campus, like a Nicole Hannah-Jones. Remember her? The 1619 Project lady. She'll be there on campus talking about how racist the school is, how racist the teachers are. Now you're going to brainwash these black kids that are there who shouldn't be at a really high intensity program, and they were put there because of optics and affirmative action. They were put there for the wrong reasons. Now, if they're there for the right reason, it'll be no problem. But a lot of them are there for the wrong reasons. They don't perform well. They could go to a decent school, not Ivy League or MIT, something crazy like that. So they don't do well. They get told it's because it's racism. Then it has like this little union of the kids that come together saying the same thing. And before you know it, you have a radical person talking about Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot. You have a BLM brainwash E. That's how it happens. So this letter makes no sense. You should be just trying to get black kids educated better. Hispanics too, everybody. Get better education. To try and tell a white person or anyone else to not send their kids to school won't give you better education. It just won't. It's just not going to happen, because if a white liberal has their kids in the really, really good schools, they're getting straight A's, in the real school straight A's, not some of these, kind of janky, halfway failing, unaccredited schools straight A's. They're getting real straight A's. They're very smart, sharp, educated. They can talk very clearly at a young age, hold a conversation when they're 5, 6 years old. They can do that. And here you come, not being able to do that. You won't be able to fill their spot appropriately. So the letter is dumb. It's just so dumb. But yeah, the thing about it is there's a website to go to at the end of the letter, sign the pledge, saying that you won't send your kids to an Ivy League school or whatever. And there's 2 choices on the form. The choices are, I'm a racist hypocrite, or I agree. So it can't just be, I don't agree with that. I think differently. Let's find some middle ground. Nope. You're a racist hypocrite, or I agree. And they said, if you don't sign the pledge, they're going to dox you. They'll put your name out there. I'm not sure about address or whatever. They can put your name out there on the shaming list. Is that legal? So if I don't do a thing that you want me to do, you're going to try to put my name out there and try to threaten me? But you know what? This is liberal on liberal violence. It always happens. They always turn on each other. That's just how it is. And, I can't really say I'm too surprised or sad or whatever. That's just how they do. Always, never fails. You're not far enough. You're not woke enough. You're not left enough. That's what they do all the time. And also, I'm going to say one more thing here. A lot of parents are not even really worried about some of these Ivy Leagues and top 50s or whatever. They're starting their own schools. They're homeschooling. They're finding alternative ways to educate their kids. They might go to Europe somewhere to learn. They might be in Germany or UK, France, learning a different language. It might be somewhere else learning how to get things done rather than dealing with some of the schools statewide. I mean, we've seen how these schools are kind of degraded. And I think at a certain point, a lot of the parents, they might be woke and Black Lives Matter, but they might not want their teacher, their child's teacher to be on heroin. I did that story about that guy, Carl Hart, at Columbia, talking about he's a casual heroin user. A teacher, a professor, said that in an op-ed. You could read it right now on the internet. He wrote it himself. He was on TV saying this. He was on Joe Rogan saying how he uses heroin. So if that's going on and all this woke stuff is happening, you having reduced standards, all kind of weird things going on, top talent as far as teachers are leaving. Okay, I'll send my kid to Munich somewhere and they have a good education over there. It won't be no American propaganda just overtaking the school. And that'll be it. Meanwhile, you'll be left with what is there. You're going to have a junkie teacher telling you anything. This man will be totally wrong with the lesson plan, give you the wrong grades because he's on drugs. So what? You can't be racist, right? You can't be talking about people on drugs, right? Because you're being drug phobic. You're being racial phobic. You're being homophobic. You're being transphobic. At a certain point, if you are a parent or a student, you just say, you know what? How about I don't do with that and go over here and do something else? But I'll move on. Thank y'all for being here yet again. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and do that as well. I'd appreciate you if you did. And we're going to get in the super chats and then the calls. So y'all just hang tight. Let me go to where the super chats are if I can find them. Santo Bartes says, not being allowed to bang needles in the classroom is literal racism. Exactly. That's where we going. And at a certain point, people are going to say, you know what? How about I don't do with that and I go over here and do a different thing? That makes sense to me, but who am I? A guy with a brain, I suppose. All right, let's get to him here. And today's July 28th. Let's get to it. Thank you to Leo Mazzino, who says, how you call this a fair January 6th commission if you only have 2 Republicans? Rhinos. If I was there, I would say, this is who let them in. And I will put Nancy Pelosi as a witness. There you go. Thank you for that. Thank you to Apu, who says, RIP, Kern County Deputy and Marine Vet Philip Compass, Selma Police Officer Marquise Moorer, sacrificed lives on duty, contrast with Capitol Police criers. Exactly. Facts. Thank you to Apu again. He says, Democrat fundraiser Ed Buck, who was a friend of Hillary, Barack, and Pelosi, Schiff, Lou, found guilty of 9 felonies, including 2 murders. Where's BLM? Yeah, I saw that. So shout out to them for actually getting that guy arrested and sentenced on the murders. That was a crazy story. I covered that when it happened. I covered the first one and the second one. It was almost a third one as well. This guy, Ed Buck, first of all, a Democrat mega donor, if you don't know. A Democrat mega donor out of L.A. I think West Hollywood somewhere. Not really sure. L.A. somewhere. Anyway, what he was doing was getting homeless, black male, gay drug addicts, taking them to his house, and then he had this fetish of shoot them up with drugs to see how they would react. 2 men he did this to died. In his apartment, they died. One died. I'm not sure how that wasn't like, okay, you killed this man. But then somebody else died too. And then there was a third guy who escaped and didn't die. He was sick. He was using these black men, these gay black men, homeless, all of them, as like lab rats in his house. It was nasty. So yeah, that guy right there, he can get the rope. If it's a firing squad and they can't find volunteers, hey, don't look too far, okay? That's all I'm going to say. And I'll leave that right there. I digress. Shout out to Apple, who says, RIP Seth Rich, July 10th, 2016, FBI solved murder yet? Nope, did not. Also says, love new profile photo, ABL. Shout out to Doug Ripley. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Yeah, shout out to my man Sean Carter out there in Atlanta for doing the shoot. Shout out to you, sir. Thank you for that. Couldn't do it without you. Yeah, but I'm glad they got Ed Buck, though, because that story was crazy. I'm not sure what the sentence is, but if they got 9 felonies and 2 murders, he should not be out anytime soon. I said give him the rope. Go ahead and end it. You know what I mean? Like, just call it a wrap. But that's just me, though. I can't speak for what they do in California. All right. Laura Catherine says the CDC is toying with the American public, trying to torture us and demoralize us, especially Trump supporters. Exactly. 100%. So I stopped paying them any kind of mind a long time ago because they're toying with us. They're playing games, and I don't have time for the games. Apple says a few more here. ABL, quote, Biden eating Jell-O watching Gunsmoke. Comedy go, ABL. What do you make of Biden's comment? My butt's been wiped. That was crazy. I don't know what he was trying to say, but it was kind of weird. Can I find that right quick? Hold on. I don't know what the man was trying to say, but it didn't come out well at all. Okay, so there's full context of my butt's been wiped. And if you didn't hear it yet, you'll understand why I'm saying that. It'll make sense when you hear it. So let's go ahead and turn the volume up and let's get to it.
Must it be reconciliation?
What must be what?
Immigration.
Okay, I'll run it back one more time in case you missed it.
Must it be reconciliation?
What must be what?
Immigration. A pathway for citizenship.
My what? So I don't understand exactly what he was trying to say. She's saying immigration, citizenship, all this and that, and the third. He's saying my butt's been wiped. What did he say? One more time for those in the back who didn't hear it.
Must it be reconciliation?
What must be what?
What are you saying here, sir? What's going on? I have no idea what the man's been saying. I just don't really get it. Sometimes he'll say things, well, that's a majority of the time, that don't make any sense. he'll say things sometimes that don't make sense, but you can understand it. It's audible. You can hear it. But right here, what is he saying? My butt's been wiped. I don't know. Anyway, I'll move on. Okay, shout out to hold on. Leo Mazzino, who says the government wants to be in full control of what we do. In other words, communism. Exactly. Big time facts. Ian Kinney says, have you seen the campaign ad for Cicely Davis running against Ilhan Omar in Minneapolis? I may have seen the thumbnail for it, but I've not actually seen it. I'm gonna check it out. Thank you for that. Also from Apu, he says, ABL opinions on Harry Dunn and Dan Bailey, Prego Man. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. Shout out to Tyrannius, who says ABL is cool. ALB is a leftist grifter. Thank you for that. Yes, that was Joe Biden saying that, Jane Doe. Yes, it was. Apu says, ABL, what if you meet Obama or Kamala or Pelosi or Hillary or Schumer or Biden in public? What would you say to them? Are you recognized in public? Reaction? I mean, people recognize me in public a little bit. I'm not like a super mega star, but I do get seen in public sometimes by people. Pretty often now. But if I was to see Obama or Kamala, I'm not really sure what I'd say. I guess it depends on the circumstance or the situation. Would it be appropriate to say anything or not? It all depends on what's in my mind or whatever. With me, I give them a one-liner. They're like, how about that border? How about the southern border? Wide open, ain't it? I'll say something like that. Like a joke, but I'm dead serious. And I say it at them so they know what's going on. Also, please pray for 1-6 MAGA patriots unfairly jailed. Democrats Aaron Mostofsky and John Sullivan arrested 1-6. Let me see. Former Democrat Senator Barbara Boxer mugged in Oakland Karma. I saw that. So Barbara Boxer, 80 years old, got mugged, got assaulted and robbed her purse or something like that. Well, she was also talking about Black Lives Matter and defunding the police. Now, I'm not saying she deserved it. I would never say that. Old lady, come on. I don't care what your politics are. That's just not right. However, this is what happens to people. People don't really understand what the reality is until reality strikes. Sometimes you get mugged by reality, and that could have been what happened here. So hopefully she's okay. Hopefully everything's all right. But this is what happens when you don't live in reality, in my humble opinion. Okay, you got to understand where you are. You're in Oakland, California. You're a vulnerable woman. Where's your security at? Why would you be in Oakland? You see what I'm saying? But hopefully she gets well and she's not going to be permanently damaged by this. If she called the police, I presume she did because we know about it. If she didn't call the police, why did we know about it? You see what I'm saying? Oh, they always call the police. You know what? It's funny you say that because the people that talk about defunding the police and all this and that and the third, they'll be the first ones to call the police right away. Matter of fact, hold on. I saw this little clip on the Twitters. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Hold on. This right here, this kind of encapsulates a lot of what these people think, and they're just wrong. All right. Can I find it? Here it is. Here it is. So the caption is, Black crime rates are higher because they have more police. And let's play it right quick.
Black neighborhoods are over-policed, so of course they have higher rates of crime. And white perpetrators are undercharged, so of course they have lower rates of crime. And all of those stupid stats you keep using are operating off a small sample size. So shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
A great argument right there. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Excellent argument. I cannot beat that if I tried. So basically, they're trying to say, you know what? The reason why there's a lot of crime in the black community is because all the police there. That is not the case. People like this, they are not from the black community. I can tell right now. I can tell by how she looks and how he looks. They're not from the area. They're not from where I'm from. I'm from it. I lived it. The police aren't the problem. The police are the last bastion of hope. With no police, you're gonna have things go straight to anarchy. It's pretty much already right. It's already like that in a lot of areas like Chicago and whatnot. But without the police, you're going to have tribal warfare. Check it out. We've seen the result of defunding the police already. Atlanta, 50% higher homicide rate, 20%, 30%, 40% in other heavily black populated cities and mostly in the black areas, homicide rate, aggravated robbery, assault, rape, kidnapping, everything going up, up, up with no police. With a defunding, not even just like the police are gone. If the police were gone, I mean, you're talking about, you would need to be, you're talking about Wild Wild West for real, times 10. You're talking about Afghanistan, Allah Akbar, all that. You understand what I'm saying? This is just phony. It's bogus. Completely. I'm not sure why I got to this, but I saw it today. I had to bring it up anyway. This is just bogus. But you know what? This is why guys like me are here, because this is out there on the interwebs. It's on the internet. I got to combat it because some little kid, 12 years old, going to believe it. They're in their mostly white area, or not even the white area, but just like maybe like a mixed community or mostly white with no police, thinking, oh, well, it's fine here with no police. That must mean in the black area where there's so many police, that's the reason why there's so much crime. It made no sense. How does it make any sense? Do you know that blacks account for 48% of all murder victims, despite being 13% of the population? And who's doing it? Is it the police doing it? No, it's not. We know that each race kills each race at a very high rate. Black on black, like 95%. White is like 85%. White on white is like 85%. But 13% account for 48% of all the murder victims. Who's doing that? The police? No. So let's just stop with the nonsense. Go back to Pleasantville, USA, and enjoy it. Don't put out fake information on the internet, please. Whatever your pronouns are, I'm not really sure. I don't want to assume nobody's gender and get anybody offended or triggered, or to the point they need a mental break moment. You know, I call somebody sir when they're really a man, but then they want to start crying for 15 days in a row. I can't do nothing with that, but I digress. Yeah, you know what? A lot of kids in this generation, a lot of kids are understanding of what's going on. They're kind of woke in the real way, and other kids are not. So I'm here to educate whoever can get educated about what's happening. Kids like this right here don't know. They've never had me as an uncle or something like that at the barbecue talking to them about something real. You know, I bring one of my cousins over that got shot and show the bullet wound. I'll be like, okay, this is what's going on in the hood for real. And it's not the white man's fault or the police's fault. It's us. Period. Take responsibility for your actions. I'm triggered, so I digress. Let me see. I saw one of my stickmans. He got shot in his stomach. He showed me the scar. It was nasty. You talking about like his whole stomach was like disfigured from the gunshot. Shout out to Terry Green for the super chat. Appreciate you. Shout out to Ian Kenny, who says Young Americans for Liberty on Fascist book posted a great Fauci compilation video on mask wearing. Check it out if you haven't. Less than 2 minutes. I think I've seen that already. Back and forth. When he first said back in March 2020, you don't need to wear a mask. It might block a droplet or two, but you don't need to wear the mask. Then he said, oh, you got to put the mask on. Then he was saying 2 masks, 3 masks. Oh, it's common sense. You put on 2, 3 masks. It's like, man, sir, stop. Apple also says, former Democrat Senator Barbara Boxer Mugg, I already read that one. Thank you to Terranius, who says, rich liberal former senator, I read that one. Thank you to Tenny Vision, who says, do you think America will go the way France is going with mandatory vaccines? If so, what can we do about it? Thank you for what you do. Well, thank you for your super chat and your comment. They're going to do that in some places, like with the federales first. They've already said it. I think Cuomo announced it for state employees in New York. It's mandatory vaccine or mandatory testing. Same thing with Joe Biden. He'll announce it tomorrow for federal employees, mandatory vaccine or mandatory testing. But I'm not sure that we'll go all the way forward with it. And what we can do to stop it is to just not do it. I'm not going to do it. I refuse. It's not going to happen. And those that are out there in law enforcement or whoever may be trying to enforce that, they got to refuse as well. You know, and I've already heard from guys that say, I'm not going to enforce that. I refuse to enforce it. So it'll take an effort from all of us to come together and refuse to refuse to enforce it and refuse to just submit to it. All right, I got a few more here I'm gonna get to. Let me see. Shout out to Ian Kenny, who says Milwaukee County judge found probable cause Minshew committed the crime of homicide by negligence use of a dangerous weapon after DA cleared him. Okay, I gotta see what's going on with that. Thank you to Greg Brown, who says I missed tight 150K versus 250K for the skilled craft I mentioned. Thank you to Lively Stone, who says, I think he said, my bud's still ripe. Talking about weed or something? What's going on? Thank you to Greg for your donation. Also, Greg says, in the power industry country is struggling for skilled craft, welders, carpenters, electricians, mechanics, etc. Probably about 150 to 250. It's a lot of money in it a year based on certifications. Thank you to Love Live Service says, thanks for your non-medical advice regarding my brother passing. Gotta be strong for the fam. Crazy how you did that live the day after your dad passed. Sudden death and someone young is always a shock. Yeah, it was crazy. You know, I felt like I wanted to do it because rather than just kind of, I want to keep moving forward. I didn't want to just sit and be idle. That's when it gets bad. That's when it gets worse. When you idle, nothing going on, you just kind of live in your thoughts. And you don't want that to happen. You want to keep moving and staying active. And that should be a thing anyway, staying active as much as possible. That should be a thing regardless of what's going on, whether it's a good time or a bad time, stay active. And just like when they say sometimes when guys retire, they die right afterward because they're not active anymore. When they're working, they're active and they're moving around doing different things. But when they retire, they get kind of relaxed and become kind of just couch potatoes and then end up passing away. So just stay active. That's the main moral of the story here. Thank you to Terranius, who says renewable energy can't cut it right now. I wish it could, but it's not there yet. Solar is okay, but not affordable. Renewable energy is a scam. It's a scam. The government is subsidizing it. It's not real. Coal and petroleum, oil, that's still the king, period. Nuclear to a certain extent, but coal and like in China, we offshore certain jobs because of regulation, and they go to China and get done with coal. That's how it works. Thank you to Nathaniel Moyer, who says, do you think Kamala will be replacing Biden soon? If so, when do you think the Guatemala Kamala will take her throne? I think Biden may resign. Or what'll happen is they'll pretty much weekend at Bernie's him throughout the 2024. He won't run again. He won't run again. It'll be somebody else, in my opinion. Thank you to everybody who donated. Let's get to the calls. Oh, hold on. I got one more. Did I get everybody? Yeah, okay. Ian Kenny says, sorry, Officer Mensah, DA cleared him of wrongdoing. The judge just came back today saying he's going to charge him. Democrat judge in Milwaukee. Okay, there we go. So let's get to it. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let's go ahead and get her done. If my Skype acts up, it's not my fault. Blame the white man because, hey, it ain't my fault. All right, let's get to it. There's also a Skype email in the box if you want to call in that way. That'll work out as well. So let's get to it and make sure I got everything set properly. And all righty. 615 in the line, I'm speaking to.
This is Spencer.
All righty, man, what's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm great, can't complain.
My question just was, in your opinion, who would you rather have running for the Republican ticket? Would you rather have Trump or Ron DeSantis?
That's a good question. DeSantis. Now, I like Trump, but I don't think it's fair to expect Trump to run at 78 years old. I don't think it's fair.
Yeah.
So I like DeSantis because also DeSantis can be a two-term president. If Trump runs, it'll just be one term after a break. So I think it'd be good to have DeSantis come in there and then do 2 terms. That'd be kind of what would be probably best. But yeah. I gotta say this though. if Trump was to get the ticket, I'd vote for him, of course. However, I like DeSantis, and in a realistic way.
Yeah, I think DeSantis would definitely get more of the moderates.
I mean,
or anybody that's leaning towards the right, but they're not all the way Republican.
He may, but I think the thing is, I think Trump still is more popular than anybody. So that has to be also what you got to do. You got to get the base as well. It can't just be about trying to get the left, because you got to get the right first. You got to galvanize your base. So if the base is not galvanized, you may be able to get some from the left, but is it going to be enough to offset those you might not get on the right that you could? You got to get everybody to come out to the polls. So if not Trump, well, I think DeSantis, and if not, then Trump. That's the two options I think are the best.
Yeah, same here. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
All right, thank you for the call. Yeah, I like Trump. Like I said, if he's to get the nomination, I vote for him. But thinking about the future, I like DeSantis going forward. I wish it could have been Trump right now. It'd have been perfect. You get Trump 2 terms and then DeSantis. It would have been the best. But that's not what's happening. So we got to think about what are we going to do going forward. Because Trump can only have one more term. So what you going to do after that? You see what I'm saying? Let's go 412. You know, line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, man.
No problem.
I'm just a concerned citizen calling from the great state of Ohio. And I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about cultural escalation. I don't know if you had a chance to see the police testimony for the officers of the January 6th riots the other day. Did you get a chance to check that out?
I saw some of it, yes.
Well, I'll tell you, what was really interesting to me was that there just seemed to be so much similarity, just a very similar thread, similar things that were said. And what was very, very, very disturbing to me is have you ever heard the legal term, an orgy of evidence?
No.
And there was just so much detail proffered by these police officers. But what was really, really scary for me, it just seemed like the dehumanization of certain classes of people has already kind of started, which is the fourth step, as you know, in a 10-step process towards genocide. And I feel like we've already blown past steps 1 through 3. So I was like, I'm seriously, that's a heck of a lot of information and detail to recount and remember with such crystalline detail after you've almost had your right eye torn out, you were kicked, you were punched, you were sprayed with pepper spray and tear gas and knocked unconscious. And to me, it just kind of bordered on the macabre. And all the while, these police officers are suffering from post-traumatic stress. Now, there is something to be said about PTSD. Some of the common symptoms is acutely accurate memory of circumstances and accompanying details. And that's primarily driven by the major flood of hormones in the bloodstream. And that's why so many Vietnam veterans and those who have been in intense combat can remember stories, 50 years plus. But I just wanted to share that with you today and just kind of give you something to chew on.
Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Sure thing, man. Keep it up. I love your show.
All right, thank you. All right, great call. Let's get to a few more here. All right, thank y'all for being here. Couldn't do it without you. 309, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Bailey from Illinois. I was just wondering who you thought, if Trump does win the nominee, would be the best presidential candidate, or vice presidential candidate, Candace Owens or DeSantis or someone else, and why. That's my question.
All right, thank you. Now, VP, it needs to be somebody that's not really a big star. DeSantis and Candace Owens are big stars. I like them more to become the president on their own rather than trying to go through the vice presidential route and becoming the president that way. So I'm not really sure who we could be. Maybe a guy like Jim Jordan. I think that could be a good pick. You know, somebody that's kind of known but not necessarily a huge star. That'll probably be better because you don't want the stars to be kind of like interfering with each other. Mike Pence was good when he was vice president because he wasn't a star. You didn't really know him too much, but he played his role for the time he had to play his role. There needs to be a guy just like that who could play that role behind Trump and not be side by side and kind of like fighting for the spotlight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, that's pretty much what it has to be. You know, I like Candace a lot. She's great. I like Ron DeSantis, of course. But I don't think you need to have two stars in the same, you know what I mean? Someone's got to be the sidekick. Not in a way to where it's like demeaning, but I'm just saying everybody got to play a role. Everybody has a role to play. And it shouldn't be anything weird to say that. All right, let's get to the next one. All right, Scott Caller, who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. What's up?
Ain't too much, man. What's going on?
Oh, just chilling. First time caller, actually. I can't believe I got a hold of you.
Well, I'm glad you got through.
I was just curious. Have you ever watched any political content on Twitch before?
No, not really. But I know that it's there. I met this guy when I was at Politicon. I'm Really Important. Have you ever heard of him? You muted yourself.
Yeah, sorry. I was just asking my girl to turn off the vacuum for a second. No, I haven't heard of him.
Okay, yeah, I met him and some other guys, I think, but I'm not really on Twitch, so I don't know who's over there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to start up a little thing right now where I'm talking politics on Twitch, but you know how it is on the unpopular side. It doesn't usually take off as easily.
So why Twitch? Why Twitch and not YouTube or somewhere else?
For me, you know, I play a lot of video games personally. You know, I'm 27. I don't know. Twitch just seemed like the place for me.
Okay, well, if you can do it.
Also, kind of seemed like it was you know, a potential market to tap into in that sense, where everybody on there talking politics is kind of on the left side of the argument.
Yeah, I heard that. That's what I was told when I met the guy. He was like, everybody's pretty much on the left. There's not much diversity.
That's kind of what I was hoping to tap into there. But you know, I'm just some guy, cheap webcam, cheap mic. You know how it is. I just wanted to pay respects, bro. Love the show. Really respect the call-ins. I'm sure you get some characters on here.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, respect, bro. Have a good day.
All right, shout out to the caller. But yeah, I have heard that Twitch is like really liberal. Bunch of liberal guys on there. It makes sense because like I was saying earlier, you got TikTok, you got all these, you know, 14-year-olds thinking that they know everything in the world, making all this cringe content. You got to have a way to counteract that because you might have other 12-year-olds that believe it. All right, let's get to the next one. 918, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? All right, 918, you hung up. It didn't do it. Let's go to 626, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you well.
Hi. So this is your friendly neighborhood Valley girl out on the left coast. I just wanted to share a little bit of what the second mask mandate kind of looks like from my experience. So my mom is currently in a skilled nursing facility, one of those state-run facilities. And up until recently, I was able to visit her with an appointment. I could only see her for half an hour. I had to wear a mask, of course, and maintain 6 feet distance. I could only give her a hug for 10 seconds. I had to submit to a temperature check and a COVID test every single time. So I complied, because I want to see my mom, and And up until recently, up until this week, I called to make my usual appointment to see my mom, and they tell me, I'm so sorry, we just had this new mandate coming down, and we can't let anybody, we're not letting anybody out. So it's an open facility where people can leave, to visit family members and then come back, and we're not letting anybody leave, and you can only come visit if you have the vaccine, if you've been vaccinated. And I was like, period,
wow.
That's it for now. What? So I said, then how am I supposed to see my mom? Well, are you vaccinated? I was like, no, I'm not. And I don't plan to be, She said, well, then I don't know what to tell you. She's actually very young. She's a social worker there. So I don't think she realizes that she's in a position of authority where she doesn't have to, she can go on a case-by-case basis. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so I'm going to go back. So I told her, you know what? My mom's been vaccinated at a previous facility. She was vaccinated, so I don't pose a threat to her. I should still be able to see her. Well, you come into the facility, you're kind of you're exposing everybody else. But I submit to a COVID test, and I keep my distance. I don't have any sort of contact with anybody. I don't understand why my mom has to be restricted from seeing loved ones in this critical period, which, seeing loved ones is part of the healing process. So, she says, I'm so sorry. I have nothing to say at this point. I'm hoping that there'll be an update soon. And as soon as there is, she's trying to reassure me that it's not going to last, but we know what happened the last time, right? 2 weeks to, lower the curve or whatever turns into 2 months, turns into, now we're going on 2 years. So, that's just kind of like my take on what I'm experiencing over here. I have to go into my little mental laboratory and figure out what I'm going to do to see my mom, because I feel like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
How about lying?
I love it. You know what? That's exactly what my cousin says. She has a card that says you're exempt from getting the vaccine, and I am figuring out what.
No, I mean, just say if she asks you, have you been vaccinated? You'd be like, yep, I've been vaccinated. Because what are they going to Are they going to ask for papers? Are they going to call the doctor? What are they really going to do?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it comes difficult for me, but you know what? I guess it's what we have to do, right?
I mean, it's a weird time. I mean, sometimes you got to do. That's your mom, So
yeah. You're right. The things that they make us do, right? They make us go against our better judgment, right? They want people to be, dishonest, populist. Okay, here we go. It's what they're forcing us to do. Anyway, I just wanted to share, ABL. Thank you for what you do. You've been having me cracking up with your commentary.
Well, thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye.
I know. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would just lie. I'd be like, "Are you vaccinated? Yeah, I'm vaccinated." I mean, what are they gonna They're gonna ask you for your medical records. You can't do that. So I identify as vaccinated. If Caitlin, aka Bruce, can identify as a woman, I can identify as vaccinated. Let's if you're gonna play games, let's play games. Yep, or take her home if you can. Sometimes you can't do that. I know my granny was in one of those places, like one of those facilities. And it wasn't like we didn't want her to be at home, because we did eventually take her. Like my dad had her half the time, and then my uncle also had half the time, and I'd be over there helping when I could, bringing the food or whatever. But she had some medical issues we couldn't take care of, so she was there for a little while. So it might be that situation going on. I'm not really sure, but just lie. That's it. All right, let's go to 631. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello.
What's going on?
Hello. Who is this?
It's ABL. Who am I speaking to?
Did I get through?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Ray. Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay, hi. I was just listening to your show tonight, and I'm enjoying what I'm hearing. I'm a bit older than you. I'm a senior citizen. And I was listening to one of your comments you made about the 13% of the black population, and as far as responsible perhaps for 48% of the murders.
Nah, what I said was that we're 48% of the victims.
Oh, right, exactly, victims. But when I listened to that, I thought to myself, of that 13%, black men are perhaps half that amount. So I think that would be fair to say maybe 6%, right? As opposed to the entire, because my mother, who's a woman, my sisters, they never murdered anyone. And even if you account for, say, 7% of black males being responsible, even with that percentage, you never killed no one. I never killed no one. My son, who's going to University of Buffalo, he's studying electrical engineering. He never killed anyone. So even with black males, of the 7% of black males, you have maybe 1 or 2% of these black males who are doing that 48% of the victims. You know, it's such a small amount, which is doing so much damage. And I think that in and of itself is an atrocity. And I think more light needs to be shined on that, you know, because if we can concentrate on that small amount that are actually doing the crimes, I think we could probably make it better for the entire, you know, black community, you know. But
Yeah.
I appreciate the, you know, like the knowledge that you're giving to the people. I listen to you a lot, and I just started listening to you live. I'm a senior citizen. I've been around a while, and I've been conservative basically all my life, and I've sort of been an outcast. But when I listen to you, Tatum, and a bunch of the other young troopers that are coming up, it makes me feel proud that we have a bunch of us that really see things with a different perspective, you know, than that's put out there by the media. But I want you to know that I do appreciate you and what you do.
Well, thank you for the call and your support, man. I definitely appreciate it.
Right. Thank you. Okay.
All right, now. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. I mean, I understand what he's saying. It's like, it's not everybody that's doing it. But see, the problem is that there's a cultural issue. I have one more. I got a lot of stats. I'm a stat book here. 1 out of every 3 black males born after 1990 will go to jail at some point in their life. 1 out of every 3 black males born beyond 1990 will go to jail or prison at some point in their life. 33%. That's a problem. And as far as murder statistics, of course, it's mostly males. That's going to be murder, period. White men, black men, it's going to be mostly a male thing. You don't really have women out there killing people. It happens, but it's not as often as men killing other men and everybody else. It's a male thing, regardless of what the race is. The problem is that it's very high among us. And a lot of that, it's deeper than just those that commit the crimes. It's a culture that kind of prompts that kind of behavior. It's a culture that permits that kind of behavior. We got to get down to the bottom of. And a lot of these people aren't raised by themselves, or they don't come into the world by themselves. They don't just manifest into reality. They got parents somewhere, but where are the parents at? Where's the dad at? Where's the mom at, quite frankly? Because nowadays, you see, the stereotype is there's no dad, but for real, there's no mom either. The mama's out there doing whatever she want to do. Grandma raising the kids. Auntie, uncle raising the kids. Mom doing whatever. Dad doing whatever. Dad's in the penitentiary or dead. Mom's out there doing whatever she want to do. It's the good auntie and uncle to live in a nice neighborhood, or the grandma raising the kids. Fresh Prince, prime example, but I digress. We got to get down to the culture. So I do agree with the caller that we need to address these people, but we got to kind of zoom out and see why it's happening to begin with. What's causing this problem to exist? It's not just, kind of by happenstance. It's a reason, and we got to get down to the core of that. 615, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Anthony.
Who am I speaking to?
Anthony.
All right, I don't got time for that. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you going to use your regular voice. I don't have no time for that. Matter of fact, how about, yeah, let's just not. All right. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. People always ask me, what can we do to solve the problem? What can we do to solve the problem? I say, what you can do is eliminate that welfare state, stop incentivizing failure. If you don't incentivize failure, maybe you have fewer failures. Just maybe. 580, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
I'm Josh. I'm an Oklahoman, conservative. I have a question. So I'm also Native American, which, is on the lesser side of the population. What do you think about them leaning more democratically? Like, my tribe, especially the Choctaw tribe, is known for leaning more to the liberal side. What do you think about, the Native Americans and how they're sort of leaning liberal? I never can understand why they always voted Democrat.
Well, I don't really know. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with Native Americans and what their needs are, what their wants are. I don't really know. So I can't really, really put a finger on that. But I know one thing, they don't have a whole lot of money, so maybe they think that the Democrats will be able to give more to the welfare state and maybe they can get more things from them. I'm not really sure. That's a good question. But if I had to guess, I would say because they can get more from them. Go ahead.
My other question is, how long do you think DeSantis will run for? Will he run for just 2 years? Or do you think he'll run for all 4 years? Like, if he gets into office, will he stay all 4 years? Is he the type of person to do that?
I don't know why you wouldn't stay all 4 years. I don't know why you would become the president and not stay the entire time if you could. I don't really. So yeah, he'll be there the whole time.
I mean, I don't know. It's a very hard pick for me because if they were both on the ballot, if Trump and DeSantis were on the ballot, I would lean more Trump because that's what I'm used to, and I've seen his work, and I like how he did his job as president. But I want someone younger too, someone that has more of a fresh mind. And I've seen DeSantis do his job very well. But if they were both on the ballot, I'd lean more Trump because I'm used to him.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I think that he's probably the most popular guy, speaking about Trump. But I think...
absolutely.
I think going forward, I think the best thing would be to have DeSantis run and then have 2 consecutive terms. That'll probably be the best thing for us when it's all said and done. Because like I said, it might be kind of unfair for Trump to run at 78. Unfair to him because he'd be in his 80s as the president. That might be a little rough. And we know how hard they were on him during his first administration.
Right.
So for him to be that old dealing with it, it might be kind of rough. So I like DeSantis. But if it was Trump, I'd vote for him.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Trump, and he's doing way better than Biden is. Way better. And Trump is 78. Most people at 78 can't remember what they did 2 seconds after they've already done it. And here's Trump having full articulate conversations and running the country for 4 years. And, I'm really proud of the guy. Well, thank you for letting me talk to you. I didn't think I'd get a hold of you.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to the caller. And thank you all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. 319 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Hold on. Yeah. Colton, take this call. Colton! Hello?
Yes? Okay, talk to me on the
Hello?
phone. Talk to me on the phone.
Hey.
Do not have the stream on in the background because there's going to be a delay. Talk to me on the phone.
Oh, she turned it off.
All right.
Okay, my name is Colton, and I live in Iowa. And I am in 8th grade. I have a question for you. 8th grade. Or 6th grade. I have a question for you. Do you
Okay.
think kids my age should wear a mask in school?
No, I don't think so because you guys got to breathe. And really, you're not in the age range to be at risk for the virus. This is what they say. You know, kids really below the age of 18 are not at risk for the virus in a serious way. So you seem to be pretty energetic. You're not going to be laying around. So you have no need to wear the mask. It's not really going to be that effective, especially for you at your age. You'll be totally fine. I think it's just a way for people to try and control you guys and to get you guys to be ready to do whatever they say once you get to be older. It's kind of a brainwashing, and you don't want to be brainwashed at all.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Bye.
All right. Shout out to, I like that call. Shout out to Coach and the mom in the background. Hey, shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. That make my night right there. Hey, but yeah, no mask for your young man. You good money. You good to go. You know, you're young, 6th grade. Don't even worry about it. You straight, man. That's just them trying to control you. I don't want to see no kids running around with no mask. If you 80 years old or something like that, okay. But young man out there running around, you know what I mean? You're totally fine. All right, let's go to the next one. 563, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's Jeremiah.
All righty, what's going on?
Hey, I'm glad I get to talk to you again. I was just listening. He was saying it's like, man, Trump needs to get back into office. You know, he needs to start setting the regulations back to their point of views. And, you know, there was just one more thing I really wanted to talk to you about that we really haven't touched on.
And
I love your opening song, by the way. I'm Jeremiah. You might know me.
Okay. So what do we? Go ahead.
You talked about it. The Uyghurs being enslaved by China, and then about Nike. You know, Nike said, "Hey, are you guys using slave labor to develop, you know, Nike shoes that we are buying from you?" And just that right there, you know, China boycotted Nike.
Oh yeah, because the thing is, China they had to have this image they want to project to the world, and if any company wants to kind of interfere and not really play along, then yeah, they're gonna try to. It's going to be a problem between China and the company. That's how that goes.
Yeah. So you know, it seemed like at the time when that happened, Trump was in office. It was like, hey, Nike, why don't you just bite the bullet? You know, and I felt like foreign policy, like a little bit of, as a bit of a lefty kind of Democratic point of view, it's like, why couldn't the Republicans or, you know, Trump or anybody step in and help Nike? Because it seemed like a foreign policy issue.
Well,
what do you think about that?
I'm not really sure how that would really work with a private company. I don't really understand how they could really, you know, what they could do.
Well, they're making, you know, Nike's making millions and millions of dollars off of China. So, you know, to be like, hey, cut off, like what the Republicans wanted to do was say, hey, cut off your whole trade policy, everything, because China's doing bad things. It's like all Nike did was just ask, hey, are you guys using slave labor? And they were like, and China was like, boycott Nike, no one buy Nike. And the whole market was cut off for them. And they were like, okay, we're screwed. Can you guys help us? And then the Republicans kind of on, you know, Trump and everybody looked at Nike and was like, well, just bite the bullet, you know, be American. And then, you know, don't do business with China. It's like half our market is based off China. You know, that's the way they're looking at it. We deal with so much money in China. We need to, and it seemed like at some point maybe foreign policy government officials should have stepped in and helped Nike kind of like create these tariffs, because Trump did do tariffs before the pandemic and all that. And this all happened right before the pandemic, and it just seemed like they should have stepped in and helped Nike out during that time instead of ostracize them, because I know so many people that hate Nike and think they're so bad because there's slave labor used to make their products, but yet Nike can't say or do anything to stop it because the Chinese market that is using slave labor, which is like the Uyghurs and all them, if you question them at all and do anything on a corporate level, they just, they boycott they boycott your company.
Well, they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out. That's on them to figure out. That's not really the U.S. problem. That's a Nike problem. They got to figure that out. They got plenty of money. They can do something.
I hear you. I apologize. I went on a rant there, but it just seems like, in my opinion, I thought maybe some sort of government official should have went in and helped out in that situation.
No, that's their private business. They can handle it because they don't want the government to really be trying to interfere with what they got going on. So they can't have it both ways. They got to handle whatever they have to do to shore up their business and make money and get the production going. That's on Nike to figure out. Go somewhere else. Go to Malaysia.
No, the production was fine. No,
I know what you're saying, but just I get what you're saying. I get the point, but the point is that's Nike's problem.
Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah. No, and that was it. Listen, this might have been a little convoluted. I apologize. It's a little bit more of a convoluted. I seem a little bit more all over the place than normal. But I just want to let you know, I was listening to, your last listener, and I was thinking about something that Trump.
Well, quickly, because I got more calls on the line.
I appreciate a lot of things that Trump did in place, while he was in place, but I just felt maybe he should have helped out a little bit because you talked about the
caller, listen to me. Caller, listen.
You talked about that.
Caller, listen to me.
A lot of other people.
All right, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm sorry. If I talk, you got to just stop. I'm sorry, caller. But if you listen, if I'm talking, you can't talk while I'm talking. So if I say listen to me, you can't just be like trying to keep talking or talk louder. Thank you for the call, though, man. I appreciate you. I don't think he was doing that intentionally. He might just not understand the whole thing, how this whole thing goes. All right. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let's go. 480, you're in the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Marcy from Arizona.
All righty, what's going on?
And I have a comment and a question about the Olympics and Simone Biles. My comment is, if anyone would like to be inspired by the Olympics, then maybe they should try watching some Olympic reruns. I'm a Gen Xer, and I remember the Olympics being different. And my question is, do you think that the Simone Biles thing could be in any way staged to promote some type of an agenda?
It could be. It most certainly could be. I don't think that it is, personally. I think that it's being used to promote an agenda, for sure. But it could be all the rules. It's like, to the point, I see so many fake things nowadays that it wouldn't surprise me if the whole thing was staged just for a particular reason. But I don't think that was the purpose, but now it is because they can use it.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think that they did it on purpose. I don't think that she, I don't think that the IOC or anybody like that or the Olympics in the U.S. made her do that, made her stumble on the mat, almost fall. But I think now that it's happened, it's like, oh, okay, perfect opportunity. You want to push certain agendas, talk about everybody being weak as a virtue, all this and that and the third. Okay, cool. Let's just push that and have that be what we hang our hats on. All right, Tariq, what's going on?
Hey, not much, man. Just on the Olympics, man. I wholeheartedly agree with you, especially with these black athletes. Quitting and talking about mental health. And I just want to tell them, the reason why you guys have mental health is because you spend all day on Twitter getting triggered and having these white liberals always triggering you about racism and all this other crap. to where you over here putting activism and then all this nonsense above everything. It's like it's so crazy. It's like all this protesting, kneeling for the flag, protesting. What does that do for black people tangibly? Nothing. All they're doing is just getting a pat on the back, and they're acting like they are fighting some oppressive system, getting supported by the same quote unquote white people, mostly white liberals who they claim to be against who is oppressing them, which is like, this is why they're not taken seriously, and nothing what they are doing is heroic, man. It's just pissing people off, and you know what? I hope that destroys the American Olympics, because really, man, wokeness is destroying everything, and black people seeing power and always kneeling or seeing power and being told how white people is better than you is the reason why nothing's going to change for the black community, man. So that's just that one thing. The other thing is, Adam Kissinger, what he did was put on a show, man. And that man is such a traitor, man. And I just keep thinking, if that clown was in the Democratic Party, he would have been dealt with accordingly. Because first of all, the liberal media would have dealt with him. His donors probably would have pulled out. The Democrats probably would have kicked him out the party. But it just seems like, man, the Republicans have such loud and bold traitors, man. And they thrive. It's like, it's like they can sit there and put the big middle finger to the Republican Party and keep trucking. And I'm just like, yo, I hope the Republican base wake up. Like, you guys, we have to be more smart and vet these people, man. Because it's just no way in the world. When they put up Adam Kissinger and Liz Cheney like that, the whole message is supposed to go to the normie American who's not really intelligent, to posits, to say, look at how corrupt the Republican Party is. Look, there's even Republicans rebelling against this corrupt party. That's the way it looks, because they understand imaging. Democrats, on the other hand, they understand they can't have Democrats acting that way, because it makes their whole party in disarray. So this is why I keep bringing something to show that we got to get rid of these traitors. These traitors are worse than the Democrats at this point, man. We know the Democrats are going to be Democrats, but these traitors, they go above and beyond. This clown crying like that is going to be used to show how serious this fake January 6th, and I say fake, bro, because this was not an insurrection, man. It was a bunch of protesters, and I'm sorry, I don't agree with what they did. They played into the liberal hand. If I was a liberal, I would have been like, yes, we're going to use this against them. We're going to make sure this tarnishes Trump's name forever. Trump never gets reelected. They was cheering. But that is what this is going to be used for, bro. So I'm just hoping, people are watching this and they really start betting Republicans. And just one more thing before I get off. Even if a Democrat is going to win, if we have a traitor, it's better to just let that Democrat win, because the traitor is going to be worse. They're going to use your name, your cause, to push liberals' agendas. So if we at least just get rid of them, even if a Democrat may win, at least we send a message. It's going to be painful at first, but trust me, once we weed them out, we are going to see a better Republican Party, and one that fights instead of one that kowtows and cries on TV for liberal causes. And that's pretty much all I want to say, bro.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right, take care.
All right. I can't say nothing better myself. Great call. Great call. He's right on point. He's on point. Yeah, and the damage that's done by these people, we can't really that's gotta we gotta get it out of here. We can't really have it. Round of applause. Round of applause for Tariq for that call. All right. And thank you all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, give the video a thumbs up if you've not done so already. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. If you listen on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether it be Apple, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, etc., give me a 5-star rating or review, whatever you can on that particular channel. Also, if you want some of the hottest merchandise on the internet, go to ablmerch.com. I got new merch coming right up. Y'all just hang tight. I'm going to take a day or two and just get her done for sure. ablmerch.com. We got hats, t-shirts, stickers, mugs, more, but a lot more to come. So y'all just go to the site, check it out. And I appreciate it if you did. All right, let's go. 903 on the line. I'm speaking to.
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
This is Carol.
All righty, what's going on?
Is this ABL?
Yes, it is.
Oh, how you doing? I just wanted to let you know that I watch you regularly, and Monday I go to my subscriber list. YouTube took you off. You were no longer under my subscribe list. You and a couple of other conservatives. So I just want you to be aware.
Well, I thank you for that because, you know, YouTube, they kind of get weird sometimes and they unsubscribe people. Maybe it's a coincidence, just maybe that it's me and other guys that are conservative, but maybe it's not. And I think that we pretty much know what the answer is to that one.
Yeah, we sure do. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know, and thank you for always being truthful and honest, and I appreciate you, and I just take care.
All right, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, a great call. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that before. People say that, you know, YouTube unsubscribed them just randomly. They don't know what happened. You know, that happens a lot. It happens a whole lot. And it's like, all right, is it just a coinky dink? It just happened like that? Or is it something else going on here that we should, you know, kind of get to the bottom of? I think we know what the answer is. But hey, it is what it is. Let's keep on rocking and rolling. Number to call, 434. You know the rest. And the number's always in the description box and also in the ticker right here below me. So you can check it out that way. All right, let's go to. All right, let's do. Hold on. 805 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Krista. I just wanted to call and get your perspective on the possibility that we are living in a simulation.
I've heard this before, actually. I think anything is possible. But I really don't know. But anything's possible. I feel like there's a lot of technology we don't really know about. And this technology can be it's if we don't know about it, then how do we know exactly what's going on?
Uh-huh.
The way that your brain kind of operates, it's whatever your brain says is going on is what's happening, and it could be a different thing actually going on beyond what your brain can comprehend. So I don't know. At the end of the day, anything's possible, I suppose.
Yeah. I notice things every so often, like, you know, things you can't really explain. You know, you see things in your peripheral vision in the corner of your eye, something moving, and you look over, there's nothing there. And, you know, there are things like that, just, but don't really make a lot of sense and that you can't really put your finger on or explain.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Matrix, that same kind of thing where it's like, you know, deja vu and things of that nature. You know, I guess it's possible.
But if we are living in a simulation, what do you think that would mean for us, for all of us?
Nothing really, as long as it kept going, because if whatever is going on just kept on doing what it was doing, then we wouldn't really know any different. It'd just be a normal thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, you know, I think it's important to keep an open mind because you just never really know what's really true and what's really going on. There's so much we don't understand.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's all. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
I thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, I mean, anything is possible. I don't know. I've heard that before, you know, the Matrix theory, you know, we're like in the pod. Who knows? All that I could do right now is control where I live, where I am, the reality that's in front of me. Beyond that, That's why people talk about they got the science has been settled. Man, ain't no settled science. We got new science. Oh, it's new science now, huh? But before you said you had it settled. So I'm not arrogant enough to say that I have all the answers. I'm always trying to learn and find out new information. That's me. I'm never, anybody says they know it all knows nothing. Only an ignorant person says they know everything. I will never say that, ever. If they can know everything, I don't know nothing. I know I'm always learning. Okay, let's get to the next one. 843, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. My name is Joey. I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
All righty. What's going on?
Here we go again with this stupid mask mandate. First, we do 2 weeks to slow the spread. Then we do 1 mask. Then we do 2 masks. And then now they want to go back and have the mask mandate like indoors and vice versa and everything else. It's like, when does it end? When does it end? You know?
It's a great question, and I feel like it's going to be kind of an ongoing thing we're continuing to deal with, because these people that think they know everything know nothing, and they're just trying to throw whatever they can at the wall and see what sticks. That's what's happening right now. And then unfortunately, we the people are kind of caught up in the middle of it. We're kind of like crash test dummies. But see, me, I've kind of opted out of that. I'm not going to be a crash test dummy. So whatever they do, I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing.
That's right. I mean, there's nothing more to it than what you just said. I mean, I'm here to do my own thing and not have the government be involved with my day-to-day life, you know?
That's right.
That's all I can say. I mean, me personally, I always hated wearing masks. That was just masks were not my thing, you know? Even like during the height of it, like I did everything. I always tried to avoid wearing masks.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's not comfortable. It's not cool. And then I've seen people have like allergic reactions, breaking up. It's been crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've worn masks at work all the time. It was so unbearable. It was horrible. I couldn't even stand it.
100%. I hear you.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't want to take much of your time, man. I just want to talk to you about the whole mask thing. I think it's just getting ridiculous how it's just going on again. I honestly, I thought it was almost said and done, but nope. Guess I was totally wrong about that.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, brother. You take care now, all right?
All right, now, same to you.
All right, man.
Yeah, I mean, these things is always going to be. That's what I say. I talk about the progressives, the so-called progressives. They always want to, quote unquote, progress. It's always going to be the next thing that they are doing. Always. That's how it always happens. It never ever fails. And their idea of progression is really not that. Let's get to the next one here. Let's go to. All right, hold on one second. Can I find it? All right. All right, caller, I'm speaking to 910.
Hey, all I just want to say is, what do you think about Kevin Samuels?
I know Kevin. He's a friend of mine. I know him in real life. I got his phone number. I like him. Friend of mine.
Why do you think they're trying so hard to cancel him?
Because he's a real person. And like I was saying earlier, I said that I made this little comparison. China is to Tibet as the LGBT is to woke black women. So it's like the same thing. China like taking over Tibet, and they're kind of like shaping their culture. There's some resistance, but there's also some acceptance. It's the same thing with the woke black women. The LGBT are taking over their culture, and they are accepting it to a certain extent. That's why I have these TV shows like Real Housewives. I mean, okay, you got Real Housewives. What you got? You got these PhDs on there acting crazy, 50 years old, acting the fool. But and then you got the gay white guy, Andy Cohen, doing the hosting. That's what's going on. So there's a power struggle, and Kevin Samuels is like a monkey wrench in the whole struggle. He's making it go back the other direction. And it's like China trying to lose Tibet to India or something like that. It's like, wait a minute, you can't take Tibet. It's ours. We got the water, we got the land, we got the protection, the barrier. You can't take that. So they're upset about it. That's what's happening.
Yeah. it's crazy. I mean, I watched his show, and I mean, you can't really disagree with him. I mean, he's pretty tough around the edges, but
Yeah, I mean, he is what he is. But people at a certain point, it's like, is he lying? That's all that really matters. Is he lying? If he's not lying, then I don't see what the actual problem is.
yeah, true. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. You take care, man.
All right, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
All right, take it.
Yeah, shout out to my brother Kevin Samuels. If you guys been watching the show for a long time, you remember when Kevin was on this show years ago, like 2017, he was on this show, and we did callers and everything on this show. This is way back. This is back in the Virginia days. I had I might have had the flags on the wall. Maybe I did. Maybe I can't really remember. But we were on the show taking calls and everything back in 2017. So about 4 years ago. Yep. So yeah, that's a friend of mine. Hey, I support him forever. Period. Anybody want to hate? I mean, it's just hating. Let's get to the next one. 779, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 779, hello. All right, don't get cold feet now, 779. Let's get to the next one. All right, Skype caller, who am I speaking to? Hello, Skype caller.
Yes, my name is Christina. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem.
Hi, sorry, I was a little bit behind. I had to turn off the other thing. But yeah, I've been listening to you, sir, for a couple of months, and I found you on YouTube after first finding Officer Tatum, his show, and I really appreciate your common sense, cool-headed approach on the issues of our day.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're kind of I'd say you're a refreshing voice of reason. It's kind of helping me maintain my sanity in these crazy times.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just had a question for you, though.
Okay.
On the subject of defunding the police. Can I talk about that?
Oh, go for it. Sure.
Okay. So we know this has been proven to be bad policy, right? In multiple cities, But let's say you've got a friend of yours that wants to kind of play like devil's advocate, as they say, and suggest that there may be a case where it might be a reasonable measure to take to defund the police. I don't know if that makes sense, but how would you respond? What are your thoughts?
Well, I would ask them to explain it. I would be like, okay, what makes you think that makes it that'll work? Why is that a reasonable direction to take? And then I like to hear them explain it. And then, if they can't explain it, which they can't probably, but whether they explain it or not, I have statistics. I have numbers on my side. I'm like, okay, since they've been trying to defund the police nationwide, and there's been a little bit of movement in that direction to defund the police, not totally, but a little bit. Homicide rates are going up, aggravated assault, kidnapping, carjacking, all kind of things. Like aggravated crimes. People talking about the recession or a lack of jobs, and it's plenty of jobs everywhere. There's plenty of money everywhere. That's not the case. It's not about people suffering or whatever. Aggravated stuff means that that's like violent crimes, criminals, gangbangers feeling empowered because there's a lack of police. Okay, that's what's going on right now with a slight defunding in certain cities. So if you just ramp it up more, you have more of the same. So I don't really see the benefits of taking the police away. It doesn't make any sense. Police are there in a lot of these areas for a reason. It's not just because, because this money is not free. They got to pay for this, but there's a reason why they're there. When you go out to the more suburb areas, that's not really a need for them to be there because there's fewer, it's less crime. That's why they're not there as much out there. But when you're in the active battlefield, you got to have the soldiers there, and that's the police in this situation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate your answer, and I just want to say that one of my favorite ABL quotes is this, that, and the third. Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
All right, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah. I mean, anytime anybody says that, talking about, well, let's devil's advocate, let's figure out if we want to defund the police, why? We see what the result is going to be all the time. It never changes. It's always the same thing. So why do a thing that we know is not going to work? It made no sense. We see what the results are going to be, period. All right, let's get to some more here. Let's try 779. You on the line? What speaker to?
Billy.
All right, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing? This is from 779. I didn't mean to cut you off, but my son broke my girl's jewelry box, and I had to let you go. But I was wondering if you've done a deep dive on the Candace Owens, Kimberly Klacik ordeal, and what your thoughts are on it.
Nah, that's not really my ball of wax right there.
Okay. Well, have a good night.
All right, thank you for the call. Yeah, it's not really, because I like both of them. You know, I've not met Kim, but I helped her raise money for her campaign. And I've met Candace a few times. I like Candace. So whatever they got going on, they can handle it. It's fine. You know what I mean? And I don't know about a lot of the allegations. I really don't know the long and short. I don't really know all of the details of it. And as far as things I can prove. All right, let's go to. Hold on, let's go. All right, Skype caller, who am I speaking to? Hello, Skype caller.
Oh, hello.
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Oh, hi, ABL. It's Danny from London. How's it going, man?
Everything's great. About yourself?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it. A couple of calls back. Someone was talking about obviously simulation and that, and it's funny because before your show come on, I watched a movie called The Mandela Effect.
Okay, yeah, I think I heard about that. It's like a documentary.
Yeah, so what I heard about is like a theory about, you know, like sort of parallel universes and different sort of universes and changes and all. But yeah, I watched the movie and it was pretty trippy. But yeah, it was just funny. You know, she was talking about simulation. I watched the movie earlier, but yeah, sorry, I wanted to give you my thoughts on this whole the mask return and just the hypocrisy and all on it, if that's all right.
Go for it.
Yeah, so we're told that vaccinated people may still need to wear a mask because they can still spread the virus. But if that is true, so why blame unvaccinated people for the rising cases? I mean, couldn't all the asymptomatic vaccinated people be to blame too? I mean, how far do you keep? I know it's just hypocrisy on top of hypocrisy. I mean, how far do you go with it? I mean, who do you blame? You know, who do you?
I think they don't know, and they're just trying to figure it out. But they're trying to tell us that they do know. I think a lot of it is just to try and gain the trust of the public. But I don't trust these people because they keep changing it. So if they're trying to gain my trust and not doing a very good job, I don't think they really know. They're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I just, again, you know, it's to the government, they have to, how do they sort of expect to, you know, build trust with the people when there's this hypocrisy everywhere? And again, you know, letting all these illegal immigrants come into the country, open borders, and then, you know, and then the government get frustrated when people question the motives behind the new COVID warnings and the lockdown threats. And it's like over in the UK, it's like, you know, the country's open, you know, since the whole over a year, obviously, since the first lockdown happened, and all these different COVID variants, different strands are, you know, coming about from other places around the globe, and you're still expecting people to follow the rules and wear masks and get vaccinated and lock yourself in your home. And again, you know, I just don't know what the government expects when they do all this, and you expect us to be able to blindly follow. I mean, that's just, I mean, I feel like sometimes we are living in a bit of a trippy kind of, you know, like Mandela effect kind of thing, because things just seem a bit upside down lately, man. And it has for a while now. I know I'm not the only one who thinks like that.
No, I mean, I understand. I really do. I feel like the people that are in charge don't know what's happening. They're kind of incompetent. Government, in a lot of ways, is incompetent in general. That's just what it is, and we're seeing it happen. I feel like a lot of government people are just there. They're bureaucrats, red tape, just shuffling papers. Now they got a real finger in their hands, and they don't know what to do. Guys like Anthony Fauci never really had to deal with any kind of pandemic aside from HIV/AIDS, which he also bungled back in the late 80s, early 90s. He bungled that too. So when they really faced with a serious problem, they can't actually rise to the occasion. And when people that can rise to the occasion regular citizens. They try to block that because they want to maintain their power over the people. That's what's happening, in my humble opinion. So when you see all these therapeutics coming out from regular doctors that have actually treated patients in the wild, oh, that's not FDA approved. Don't trust that. Trust me. But when they say trust me, they keep changing what they say every other day. The CDC says no mask if you got the vaccine. They say 2 months later, oh, put the mask back on, vaccine or not. So which one is it? Oh, okay, we need a third shot for a booster in December, but your vaccine is safe. Which one is it? They're incompetent.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to end up being like you might as well just stop drip feeding this vaccine to people. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Lock themselves in a home and just drip feed it to them every day for the rest of their life. I mean, again, it's just this flip flopping, and from everything I've seen from Fauci and all these other people, it's just back and forth, and I think if they keep up with this approach, they're just going to keep losing more and more people, and people are just going to turn on them, I think, and again, this whole sort of misinformation. It's like, you give your opinions on vaccine and other things, and all of a sudden you get a strike or whatever it was, and yet Biden is saying that if you get the vaccine, you can't catch COVID, and you're like, isn't that misinformation though? That's what
I think. That's what it is to me. But I guess it doesn't really count when you're in charge. You see how that works? If a regular person says something like that, it's misinformation. You're misleading. You're not giving the right thing. But when the president says it, oh, it's fine. Double standards, big time.
That's what I mean, man. That's what I just I'm fair's fair. It's like, look, I just think if you president can talk that kind of rubbish, and then let anyone else talk it, and then we can all just have a fair game. You know what I mean? We can all talk crap, but I know someone who recently said to me, obviously because you asked me, have you got the vaccine? I said no, blah blah blah. And he said, well, if you did get it, you probably won't catch corona, you won't spread it to people, you're going to save lives, and this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who think this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, sorry, I don't mean to take up too much time. Is there if I end it with a couple of jokes just to lighten it up a bit?
Go for it.
Yeah, forgive me if it's cringy. If it's cringy, blame the white man. What do you call the door-to-door vaccine people?
I don't know.
Jacovid witnesses.
Okay.
All right, that's not too cringy. One more. So I heard that shoppers in California are using discount code Floyd to get 100% off all items in the store.
Oh boy.
Is that too soon? Is that too soon? Sorry if that's a bit too soon. Forgive me, man.
Wait, man. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking my call again, ABL, man. Take care. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. All right. You guys are the best audience on the internet. But yeah, government sucks. They're incompetent. We know better than they do. But you got the rise of the podcast and the internet. You have doctors communicating with each other, coming up with therapeutics to use that's working in the field. The government says, nope, we don't approve that. Take our stuff. It doesn't work as well. Doctor has therapeutic for certain illnesses and whatnot. Oh, no, don't take that. Take this fentanyl that we created. That's a big pharma creation, if you didn't know. Take this fentanyl and use that. Now you got a whole opioid epidemic caused by a big pharma, right? Rather than letting it's all about money. Do you know that there's a trial lawyer association that gave like $50 million to the DNC, and they control big parts of the DNC, and they're kind of propping this whole drug trade up. It gets deep with the government and money and stuff like that. Again, small government, not so much control over our everyday lives. Let us take care of us. Let us do that. We don't need the big daddy government all on our back all day. All you gotta do is just provide some safety and whatnot. Have a volunteer army, military, whatever. Have that. Do basic things for us. Be our servants. That's what you're there for. Is our money that you take it from us to be our servants. Don't be our rulers. That's not going to work out too well. This ain't no monarchy or nothing like that. This ain't no serfdom. At least it shouldn't be. I mean, it's to the point now where I can't even really tell what's going on. But I digress. Okay, let's get to some more here. Let's go 215 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, how's it going?
Everything's great. How about yourself?
Good. Hey, so get this. So I had this, my landlord, he had not to sound racist, man, he had this, one Mexican guy come in our house, and he worked on our house, right, on our apartment building. That dude, I mean, he was fast. He worked, let's say that he worked on the kitchen, he repainted the kitchen. Hold on, let me, sorry, I was watching you, heard it in the background. So he repainted the kitchen, redid the bathroom, redid the mirror in the bathroom, repainted the bathroom, redid the hallway, repainted the hallway, put new railings up all over the apartment, and changed out the light fixtures. He redid the entire kitchen. He did all that by himself, less than 2 hours, and he was just done. I'm like, wow, that guy worked really fast, and he just knocked it out.
For the low for like next to nothing, cheap price, quick work, good work. Yeah, I know how they operate for sure.
Oh my God, he did it all by himself, and he changed the toilet, and he did all that for like less than 2 hours. He did just the entire apartment.
Oh yeah,
I was like, wow. And it was just amazing how fast he was. He just knocked it all out. Because I remember one time he worked on an entire room, right? He redid an entire room. It only took him 20 minutes. He laid down the floor, repainted. It's because he ripped up the carpet, the old carpet, and then put down floor tiles. He did all that in 20 minutes, or at least 30 minutes. Well, all I know is it didn't take him an hour to get it all done.
Right.
So if you got one of them that work like that, imagine if you have a whole bunch of them.
Oh yeah,
like an employer hire a whole bunch of them. And I see why they want to hire them. Now I see why my own two eyes they really want to hire them.
Well, the thing about it is, it's that, but also they cheap. That's the reality. It's like it's cheap labor. They get stuff done quick. They work hard. Like they do go hard. I don't want to get that confused. Like it's just cheap. It's a combination of they get work done very quickly, and they're cheap. That's just what it is. And the thing about it, also, a lot of them send their money back to Mexico or Guatemala, Honduras, wherever they come from, and it has much more buying power. You got them U.S. dollars, and you do Forex or pesos or whatever it is, or that money goes a long way where they come from. So they're able to finance themselves a lot like that. That's why when they come over here, a lot of times across the border illegally, I'm not saying those that are working are necessarily illegal. I'm just saying when those that do come over the border illegally, they got plenty of money. They're not necessarily poor. They paying these coyotes like 10 to 15,000 US. I think like between 5 to 10,000 US for one person to get over. I mean, they got money.
Oh, wow.
Believe that.
Yeah. I heard this one rumor where there's these three guys that used to go around panhandle in New York for the next few years, and like all I know is a year later, all three of them were driving cars.
Oh yeah,
from panhandling.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
Absolutely. If it's America, it's opportunity everywhere. People just got to go out there and do it. But a lot of people, they're kind of lazy. They come from environments where everything's handed to them. Like me, I seen like being in West Virginia, coming from that, where people like it's actual poverty. Like people, they go to like inner cities and they think that that's poverty, but to somebody from where I come from originally, that's like you living good, you living real good.
Yeah.
So I understand what it's like to have certain things that people. I understand what's like to not have that, and people have it, take it for granted. Same thing, but then they come over here, land an opportunity. So yeah, I don't want to hear anybody talk about, well, I can't get X, Y, and Z. You could do a lot here in America.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because I've watched documentaries of what goes on in other countries. They seem like they're going through a lot of repression, especially over in some parts of Africa.
Oh yeah,
I seen this video not too long ago. Oh my God, this one baby was so skinny. All you see is he was nothing but bone.
Yeah,
I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's serious. It's not a game.
And one more thing. I don't mean to sound racist, but honestly, I'm starting to get a little. I'm starting to get a little tired of like just these people of color who have never been oppressed, never been poor, and it's just like, for example, what's that girl name who she's accused of quitting and all?
Oh, you talking about Simone Biles?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, I heard that she had like a mental problem. I didn't get a chance to do any research on that, but from what I heard, she said she had like a mental problem or something.
Yeah, she was having a mental. She wasn't really feeling good mentally, basically.
My whole point is you have black people at the top that has so much position of power that keep saying that black people are oppressed, but yet they're not living in our shoes. They're not trying to help, and it just gets under my skin. They're just completely out of touch. They don't know what they're talking about. All the money and influence they have, they can use their power. I don't even think that half of them even realize how much power they have because they're so busy being controlled by the people at the top.
That's right.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, thanks for taking my call, ABL.
I thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
All right, have a good one.
All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah. People don't really understand how good they have it. You know, I've seen people living in like an RV with no running water or nothing, and it's like it's just normal. It's all about perspective. You know, people don't really. People got to travel sometimes, I think, just to understand what life is like in other places, because people don't always really get it until they see something else like, oh wow, really started living over there, yeah. And it's not enough sometimes to see it on television, because when you see it on TV, you can kind of like look at it as not really being real. But when you see it in real life, it's much different. All right. Scott caller, who am I speaking to?
ABL, this is Tyler, South Carolina.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, man?
Hey, I was just wanting to get your opinion. How long you think Mumbles, aka Joe Biden, how long you think he's gonna make it?
They're gonna try to do the weekend at Bernie's if they have to, all the way until 2024, but he might not make it. I mean, because I'm seeing him, he's out here just screaming out random things at reporters. It's not looking too good. So he might, by midterm, have to go ahead and retire, resign, or whatever. But they're gonna try to get him through the next election. They're gonna try.
You really think so, huh? I don't think he's gonna make it, but I don't know. Like you said, they'll probably try and limp him on to the finish line.
Yeah, it'll be one term for sure. He won't run again. That's for absolute sure, because by that time, it'll be really bad. It's gonna be looking like shaking and baking out there. So now, if they try to get in 2024, then that'll be it.
I like your pick too for Jim Jordan for VP. That's probably a good fit if Trump goes again. Like you said, DeSantis might be a little too strong of a personality, you know what I mean, to run as a VP. Probably need to save him for that presidential role.
That's right, 100%.
Or Candace when she gets a little age on her, of course. But
yeah, I think Candace, she could have a good run for president. DeSantis, of course. But yeah, Jim Jordan, that'd be a good compliment. Like you say, I don't want the stars to compete with each other. I want to have one guy be the clear star and the other guy play the supporting role. That'd be perfect.
All right, now don't forget about that second district up in West V. Tell Nia she's gonna have to maybe, you know what I mean. That might be your move, ABL.
Hey, you never know. I can't predict the future.
Hey, that Central District in West V, that you know they love you.
That's right.
All right, brother. You take care. Stay up, though.
I know. All right, shout out to the caller. Shout out to my man Tyler for the call. Appreciate him. And thank you all for being here. You guys are the best audience. Let me see. I'm reading comments right here. Contra says, agree, ABL. In the poorer parts of the Philippines, they have recooked garbage. I think it's called pat pack. Wow. That's crazy. I heard about in China where they're using gutter oil, where they're taking like sewage basically from the gutter and they're repurposing that for oil to put on your food. You eat that. One lady said that she put her kids through college with gutter oil in China. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't trying to eat that. You know, people talking about China so first world. I can't tell. I ain't trying to go to China and get them Africa vibes where you know what I mean. You getting diarrhea immediately. I don't want that to happen. All right, let's get to the next one here. 678. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill, is this you?
Yes, it is.
Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. I've been listening to you for a while. This is my first time trying to call in, and the call just getting dropped. And I'm like, well, he's probably getting a lot of people calling him right now. And just on a fluke, I got connected with you. So, you know, I'm really honored to talk with you.
Well, I'm glad you're on, man. What's happening?
Just a couple of things. So I've been watching a lot of people, especially you, for a while about what happened with the day that shall not be named on January 6th. And I'm not really paying too much attention to it because, you know, we know how the media likes to twist all that stuff around. And I was talking to my mom the other night, and she's like, did you happen to watch what these police officers in testimony? I'm like, I said, no, what's going on? And then she told me, and she's like, if you have any soul or spirit, you'll watch it because I watched them and I cried when they cried. And I was like, what? So I took a look at it and watched your video on it too, and I was just kind of like, you fell for this? I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's all theater. All of this whole thing is theater, from top to bottom. Yeah. It's nothing else you could really say about it. And I knew they would do this right when it happened, and it's to the point where it's obvious. Like with the people that are actually on this thing, Nancy Pelosi is handpicking the people. No real conservatives in there. Two rhinos. I think it was Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. The fake crying. Yeah. And the officers they have on there, they know Adam Kinzinger. One of them was on the first name basis with him. They didn't hang out together already. It's so fake. It's so phony. It's all just political theater. It's like China, North Korea, or something like that. It's really kind of pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, and I told her, I was like, you know, I'd have more, I guess, sympathy for any people who I guess did fear for their lives who worked at the Capitol that day, if the media would actually admit to what happened during the summer of rioting and looting and deaths. Because I even told her, I was like, David Dorn, you know, in Sigourney, what was her last name? Was it Turner, right? I'm sorry?
Turner.
Yeah. I mentioned her because that was here in Atlanta when I saw that, and the family crying on the news, and the father saying, you guys say Black Lives Matter, but I guess not all lives matter. Now, I told her that. I'm like, people want to ignore what happened over the summer and all the deaths, looting, and everything. I was like, acknowledge that. And maybe some of the stuff that was actually really that bad during the Capitol incident we'll take more seriously. But when you're like, oh, this is close to a 9/11 or a Pearl Harbor, I'm like, nah, that's not it.
Right.
And just the last thing, because I know your show's gonna be wrapping up soon. I'll try to keep this one brief, but there's a whole lot. There's a current job I'm working for, and I don't want to, say it out loud because I don't want it to get out there. I was working with this one black girl, and she kind of went off on this racist tangent, and maybe you can help me fill in most of the stuff that she was saying. I think she might be a devout follower of the Nation of Islam. I believe that's what it is.
Okay.
And she was telling me about the 12 chosen races, like Africans, not blacks, but Africans, Indians, Mexicans, but not Hispanics, are going to ascend to heaven, but white people and Asians are like the devils, and like she just named off all these different races, and she's saying how whites and like black, not Africans, Asians are in heaven right now, but the whole racial tension of what's going on in the world is shifting, and soon there's going to be a race war, all this other stuff. And I'm just like, this girl just went completely crazy. Like, I've been working with her for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden she just went flip script saying how, you being white, you're the devil, you had slaves. And I'm like, ma'am, I was born in 1985. my family came over from Ireland. Like, I'm Irish on my father's side, and my mom's side is Cherokee and actually Hispanic. And I even told her that. I said, I'm Hispanic and Cherokee on my mom's side. And she's like, what are you on your father's side? And I said, Irish. She's like, that's who you are. That is what you are. And I was like, ma'am, regardless of what my bloodline is, I'm an American. I live in America. We need to work to make this country better, not to try to divide it by saying, well, by the color of your skin, you're white, you're the devil, you had, you own slaves. And I'm like, okay. And, I pulled the white privilege card briefly saying, people say I have a white privilege card. And I'm like, the job I'm working at, it's enough to support myself and my family, but it's not like I'm making like a bankroll of money. Like I'm making millions of dollars a week. And I'm like, if that's the case, where's all my things, the money that I'm supposed to be having from apparently owning slaves, even though my family never owned slaves.
Right. Yeah. And that was, for the record, that's probably a Hebrew Israelite you were talking to. Thank you. Because I tried to look it up too. And of course, Google's not helpful. I'm like 12 chosen races and it's giving me like literal races. And I'm like, I couldn't find it. But I've been showing up because the one thing I remember that she said was she doesn't want to work Saturday because she observes the Sabbath. And I'm like, oh, that's also an Adventist. That's interesting. Yeah, so I think that's probably part of it. The Adventists and they kind of like going to Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, because one of your previous calls was talking about, I don't mean to sound like a racist, and I kind of was looking over at you to have this grin on your face. Like, usually when someone says that, there's usually a hard turn, but the guy didn't do a hard turn. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Right.
But when he said that, I'm like, I want to try to call in and tell ABL and all his callers this story. That it's like, you're working with someone, and all of a sudden they're like, you're white, you're the devil. But it was just really funny, and maybe you can explain it before I let you go, because like I said, I don't want to drag on too far. That she put whites and Hispanic and Asians together and blacks, but she separated Africans, Mexicans, and Indians. Like, what's the whole deal with that?
Because they think that blacks are already here in America, and yeah, so that's true to a certain extent, but not really. I mean, most African Americans come from Africa, like ancestral, but there was some people that were here that's kind of like might be kind of dark skinned, but that's not the majority of us. So that's just, I don't know, people get kind of weird. But thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
I appreciate it. I'll try to call you back another time. You have a good night, sir.
All right, now. Yeah, all that stuff, the Hebrew Israelites, I remember some of them. They get kind of weird depending upon where you are. I've not been to New York where they be on the street screaming at you, but I've seen some of those videos. Yeah, she's crazy for sure. Official, certified. Let's get to the next call. 203 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Margaret.
All righty, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. I just can't even believe I got through to you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I just wanted to tell you thank you very much for all that you do. Thank you for watching all the news that I have no desire to watch and keep me informed. And I trust you and many more YouTubers than I trust the real people.
Well, I thank you for that. Most certainly appreciate it. All righty. Shout out to the caller. Let's go. 507 on the line. Who am I speaking to? 520's ever hung up. I didn't do it. I'm going to try to get one more call in and then I wrap it up, put the bow on the top. All right. I'm reading some of the comments here. I think I got one right here. I'll wait for it to come back. Let me go to the comments right quick before I get to the next call. Wow, these comments are zooming. Let me just refresh. Oh, and while I'm here, go to ablmerch.com, go to anthonyblogan.com. Go to all these places. You can get all the merchandise, you can read all the articles. You can do pretty much all of that good stuff. All right, let's get to one more. Let's go to, all right, Skype caller, who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's going on? You can call me TK.
All righty, man, what's happening?
Hey, and I just want to talk to you about something real quick. Basically saying 2020 versus Jan 6. That was crap because there's a whole lot more that went on in 2020 versus Jan 6. It was all bull. But I don't know if you know about it, but there was actually a sign up back then. I don't know if you can still find it now. They probably got rid of it, but people were signing up on like Twitter and Facebook to like go to like Jan 6, the Capitol or whatever, and actually start all that crap up. This was already set up before Trump actually started making his speech on the same day. Just wanted to knock that out. Another thing is this is declassified also now anyway, as far as Kamala goes, but she had her opportunity with talking to some of the world leaders and, not to give too much away, but what I could is basically say is they didn't want to talk to her because she was a woman and of who she was. So she couldn't really get through to a lot of them. But like I said, it's declassified, so you can probably look that up too. Operation Warp Speed, real quick. Of course, we already know how that started. Everything went through. It was good. So-called vaccine was out there, whatever. The main thing was, what was so great about it then is once it got out and the vaccines got out, you had a choice. It was either, if you really feel you need it, get it. If you really feel you don't need it, don't get it. And I like the fact that it was choice based. Now they're just trying to force everybody to get it, which of course realistically is not selling well to a lot of people, to be for real. Me personally, I had to get it because, hoorah, hoo-yah, we'll say it like that. And living in other places, yeah, America is great. It's wonderful. It's an amazing place. Because living overseas, don't get me wrong, there's some great places I checked out and some horrible places I checked out. Living in the field, when you have to, and you don't have anything, a lot of people really don't know how great they got it. And one other thing, I'm a tech nut, so I work on technology. That's kind of the reason I, joined or whatever. I wanted you to check something out. I don't know if you got your page open or not, but check out CNA and type in Microsoft 22 billion. You'll see some of the field products that they're working on that's going to be issued to the Army. It's declassified, so, anybody can look it up. It's more of a money thing. Also bringing out new tech, but they're trying to get units set up for the civilian world, and that's kind of what I've been working on for some years. I think you will like it, some nice tech, a little more Tony Stark type stuff. I'll say it that way. But anyway, salute to you, sir. And America is a wonderful place. Love it. Love the 1776, the flags, the whole nine. You, sir, have a good night.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you. All right, great call. Shout out to the caller. I'm going to look it up, see what's going on for sure. All right, so I think that'll be a wrap. So thank y'all again for joining. You guys have been the best audience always. You guys are the best audience as always. I got super chats to read right quick, and then I think I will be ready to put the bow on it. Thank you to all the mods for keeping the trolls in line. I couldn't do it without y'all. And shout out to everybody that has been watching, sharing, super chatting, emailing. Shout out to all you guys that send me emails. I read pretty much all the emails, or at least I skim it. I try to read as much as I can. But a lot of you guys, you send me tips on what's going on with the news. And I appreciate y'all for doing that. A lot of you guys might not be able to say it, may not be a big platform to say it. I'm your voice. So thank y'all for helping me to help y'all and help everybody else. And to help myself. Okay, I got super chats on deck. I think, let me go to where they at. If I missed anything, I think I pretty much got everything. Let me see if I got a couple more that I didn't get in here. All right, let's go back to where they are. Let me see. Okay. All right, thank you to Butt versus Windshield, who says Simone Biles should be a poster gal for the left, I suppose. They should all do what she does and quit. Stop doing your liberal antics. Be like Simone. Shout out to Santo Bartes. He says, if they mandate vaccine passports, oh yeah, I already read this one where he says, so if they mandate vaccine passports, will they be required to enter voting stations in 2022? Fantastic question. Or will it be able to be used as identification to go in there? Like, how are they going to do that? M. Martin says, brother, last Thursday on the Tatum forecast, you nailed a bullseye by explaining the CCP China is stoking the flames, dividing us into fifth D warfare. What 100%? Yes, because they understand that there's different ways to destabilize a nation other than just trying to go brute force. The days of just striking people with weapons, that's kind of passe. I mean, you're dealing with first world nations, ain't no more of that. You're going to go in there with disinformation campaigns. You go in there with spies. You go in there with people that control certain industries, bop certain industries. Do you know that a Chinese company owns Smithfield Foods? Do you know that? I remember when they sold it, because, I'm from Virginia. They sold it when I was there. I was like, wow, really? China has that? They have a lot of different things. TikTok, that's a Chinese company. Trump tried to get it banned. He tried, and all we see on there every day is trash. Pure filth. All day, confusing the little kids all day. He tried, but that's China that runs that. Oh, it's run by an American company. No, it's not. TikTok has American operations. They handle some things in America, but ultimately it's a Chinese company owned by the CCP, period. So if you're on TikTok, you're on, might as well call that Xi Jinping talk. But I digress. Thank you to, your name, I'm going to tear her up, and I'm sorry. It's not my fault, blame the white man. To Josui, and I won't try your last name. TR, put it to you like that, who says, I'm a big fan, but I think you're missing the point about Biles. She chose to take care of health. That's what we believe in, individual right to choose. I mean, she could do whatever she wants. It's fine. But I don't like the fact that she's getting praised for not performing, for quitting. It's like, if you quit, you take care of your health. Okay, cool, that's fine. But if you do this when things get rough, then you can't be in the GOAT conversation. She put the GOAT on her actual clothing, a little baby GOAT to represent greatest of all time. So when you crown yourself with that kind of title, okay, now you got to show and prove. If you can't, take that GOAT off and deal with your mental problems. You can't have both ways. You can't say I'm the best ever, but then when things get rough, oh, I want to quit because I'm not really feeling it. That ain't how that's supposed to be. But again, if you want to do that, fine. But you can't at the same time say, I'm the best. The best wouldn't do that. Thank you to Tammy F, who says, Dr. David Martin on Rumble talks about the virus not being novel and being planted in 2002 along with SARS. This was a bioweapon for profit. Thank you to WJ Valente, and they made plenty of money on it for sure. I mean, trillions of dollars get printed. Thank you to WJ Valente, who says, we need less Simone Biles and more ABLs. I appreciate you. Thank you to Darner1804, who says, privilege really does exist. If your ancestors were righteous people who passed on good values to you, you're privileged. Anyone accusing another of privilege is therefore trashing their own family. Oh, very well said. WJ Valente says, ABL, did you happen to see that creepy video of Klaus Schwab being donned in a futuristic-looking religious robe? He took it very seriously. I've not seen that, but hey, I won't be surprised. And thank you to Angel Rivera, who says, great show, ABL. Hey, thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. And I got you a gift, man. I got your book, the Mark Levin book. Matter of fact, hold on. If you're right there, I got it. Yeah, I got your book, American Marxism. Thank you for this, man. I appreciate you. I got it right here in my videos in the back so you can see it. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. I've not read it yet, but I do plan on reading this. This will be a pretty good read, pretty easy read for sure. And it's here. Marxism is here, and they're trying to really push it to the children. Now, a lot of people, they've not been brainwashed. People are still kind of away from all of this. If you're not really on the internet, especially, you kind of shoot it a little bit. But once people that are on the internet a lot and they kind of been brainwashed, they go into academia, they're trying to brainwash kids and K through 12, also college, it becomes a problem. So thank you, man. Good book to read. Shout out to Mark Levin for sure. And did I get everybody? Shout out to Texas Sweet Tea, who said, sent this just to hear you say kerfuffle. Thank you for that. And shout out to Crunchy D, who says, my butt's been wiped. All right. So that will be it for me. Thank y'all for being here yet again. The best audience anywhere on the internet. So I'll be back live again on Saturday, of course, as always. And I got a video already recorded right now. I'm going to put out tomorrow. Tomorrow's first video, I think, is going to be, what's that going to be about? It's going to be, so remember the whole thing about Logan Paul and the really cringy speech he did? Well, Candace responded to him, challenging him to a debate. And he responded to her, along with some of his cringy podcast members. I have something to say about that. So I did like a little kind of reaction to the video. I'm gonna edit that tomorrow and put it out in the morning. So I got that coming out. Y'all got exclusive first dibs on my next topic. So I'll do that. Also, before I go, M. Martin says Ping has bought off Ping has bought off our politics. Now he's trying to change the population. Jan 6 angered them because public Congress got back. Well, there it is. All right, so that'll be a wrap for me. And until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.